Yes, it's like, how the fuck does anarchy solve any of these problems? How the fuck does... Oh, well, we'll just not have any leaders. Okay, well, how does that fix... How would anarchy fix the problem of the Bengal famine? Like, how does that fix that idea? Like, how the fuck does that help?
Well,
and even that, he simplified it so fucking much.
Yeah.
There's so much more to that situation than just Churchill bad.
Oh, okay, we're going to recap just a few things. So anyway, let's get going. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 179. We are doing the second part of Renegade Cut's look at the James Bond series in general. So we're not sure what he's going to do the next half, but I'm going to quote him on a few things that just sort of threw me for a loop, and I wasn't sure what to do with them. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave a quote or a comment on his video because it's just so like, does anyone care? But he said some strange things like, there are uncritical action movies in which imperialism is a fun romp. Or these are, rather. So he admits that these are just fun movies, but he thinks they're imperialistic, which I don't grasp. So he's saying these things trivialize the victim, or Bond trivializes the victim when he kills them. Whether that's the evil villain or whether that's the people in the background, we're not sure. He also said things like context is for kings, which was a quote from Star Trek Discovery, which is ironic because we always talk about context and the meaning of things and what does the scene mean, what's the character trying to do, and that's how we derive understanding. And he seems to impose his own understanding. He talked a lot about the anti-intellectual, and how Q is the representative of the intellectual and Bond is the representative of the anti, and his flavor of intelligence is still a form of intelligence, but it's against the Q version, whatever that means. So Bond is the not right way to be smart, whatever that means. Then he said he would be damned if he ever took a course in gender studies, which is kind of funny. Not that
because gender studies is a joke subject.
Everyone who does gender studies, you are damned. You're going to hell. I don't make the rules. I don't make the fucking rules. You're going to hell if you do gender studies.
Everyone has those courses in university or post-sec education where you're like, you know what? I just need an elective to get my credits to graduate. Like, I'm just going to take a random nonsense course. That's gender studies. It's always been gender studies. So I don't know, maybe like figure painting or basket weaving might be your thing, but...
Interpretive dance.
There you go. That's a great one. Then he says, intellectualism began to be synonymous in the McCarthy era with communism, which I don't know what, where, how, when...
Yeah, because there's a lot of fucking commie professors in university. A lot of fucking commies in universities. Like... Yeah, like it's. I don't know what to fucking tell you, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make people who went to university, we're learning how to think properly because of communism. Like, no, that's what some of the professors did, but not everyone who went to university who was an actual intellectual was a communist. So the implication is that if you went to post-secondary education in the 50s or 60s or whatever, that doesn't make you a communist, and if you thought differently, that didn't make you an intellect or non-intellectual, rather. So I don't know. Lots of very broad, strange, and esoteric.
But it baffles me. Like, he talks about artists as well as like supposedly intellectual. Like, if what the fuck? Like, he conflates. Like, what Q does is like scientific and it's engineering and it's, things that can actually be proven, things that you can actually do objective like stuff with. Like, fucking gender studies is like you're less than if you'd never gone to university. It is literally better to have never gone to university at all than to have gender studies degree. Like, have that as your major. Like, no, that's literally worse than having no degree. It is negative.
Yeah.
I like how
you are very, very rarely going to use that.
There was an example I put on one of my videos a few weeks ago about a masculinity scholar in some community college in UK, and it was a woman, I was like, all right. I mean, I'm all for people getting degrees and pursuing their interests and teaching and all that great stuff. But she was critical of Sherlock Holmes because she was attracted to him, but didn't like it because he was problematic. And I was like, okay.
How is the...
I remember that. I need to watch that video because it sounds like it's a train wreck. Well, the article, because it's just weird.
But the thing about Sherlock, a lot of it is like he has a lot of negative traits, both in the books and any of the adaptations. He has like a lot of like things that are bad about it, like a lot of flaws about his character.
Sure, yeah.
But they're portrayed as flaws. They're not portrayed as like this is a good thing that he's like this. It's a good thing that he's unsympathetic to people or that he has addictions.
Right.
You know, it's never portrayed as a good thing. You know, like, so fuck.
The thing with Sherlock is he's always focused, everything he did was for the good of the solving the case. And the interpersonal stuff he wasn't so good at. Yes, he wasn't addicted to cocaine. He just did it because he was bored. Same with smoking. Same with playing the violin. He had his vices like any adult man might. He drank beer. It wasn't a big deal in the book.
I mean, I always interpreted it that he wasn't necessarily like solving cases. What it was just about
message coming.
The enjoyment of a good puzzle kind of thing. Like, right. It wasn't like a moral thing. It wasn't like out of a sense of moral duty. It was, this is really fun and interesting to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's how I interpreted.
That was how Watson, because you're seeing everything from the books from Watson's perspective. So he would say that Holmes was, if a case was not across his eyes within 5 minutes, he'd get bored. He just had nothing to do. Yeah. So he always wanted a puzzle to solve. Plus, there were many puzzles or many things that people asked for him, and he didn't do them because they were too boring.
Yeah. So in a way, he's not really a heroic character per se. Like,
no,
he's not a noble character in like I don't know, he's not like Conan the Barbarian or something.
Because of his intelligence, he is more upper class, but he does not care about class structure per se because he hangs out with a bunch of beggars and the Baker Street irregulars and whores and all kinds of, like, he doesn't care. He goes wherever he needs to do to get his job done.
Yeah.
So he'll talk about boxing with random guys on the street, or he'll go to the opium parlor to find out information. So he goes wherever he needs
it's very much like that autistic savant type personality.
Exactly.
Or live in a cave during Hound of the Baskervilles just for a case.
Yeah, he's a scientist, boxer, fencer, crazy man. Yeah, he's just nuts. But that's the kind of interesting thing we like about Sherlock. He's got a little bit of everything going for him, and he only cares about having fun in solving crimes. So anyway, let's get started. This is gonna take a while. So 20 minutes, probably gonna take at least 2 hours. I don't know. We could give up. I don't mind it because we were about to give up last night. So yeah, let's get going, folks. Joe Crazy, thank you. Anarchy doesn't work because inevitably some kind of system will be established out of necessity due to our social nature, and this could be said of any change of government, whether you go from democracy to a republic. That is a state of anarchy. So something is ready to replace it. You don't just have a guy come in, shoot everyone up, and that's it. Something is going to have to happen within days to organize a system of government. So it's not just, kill all the politicians and that's that. Someone is going to have to take control. So you can go from despotism, you can go from an oligarchy, you can go from aristocracy. It doesn't really matter, but it's going to establish something. So that's why everyone calls themselves, if it's anarchy / something else. So with Renegade Cut's example, it's probably anarchy or communism.
Communism.
Yeah. Like, so when he says he's an anarchist, we know exactly what that means. He wants to replace with communism. So we hear that a lot. But
I think the reason that he doesn't specify, the reason he just says I'm an anarchist and he doesn't say anarcho-communist is because he doesn't view any other forms of anarchy as legitimately anarchy. Like he views that as like anarcho-capitalism. He would view that as a contradiction in terms.
I'm not sure. Maybe it depends, because I've read a lot of people who were anarcho-capitalists, and these are economists. Like, they actually know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, I know.
And they will say we can't do it because like you can't just blow up the government and start from scratch. You have to actually build up to something, and then you could strip away the government. So you have to have the infrastructure available for society to operate without the government. And then it would make, like, all you're doing is replacing government with free enterprise. So the police, the judiciary, like the waterworks, all the markets, all these things that are already semi there would be a form of anarcho-capitalism. So it's not really changing what we have. It's just eliminating and replacing very slowly what the government does. So anyway, that's a much more complicated topic. Let's get into the ramblings of Renegade Cut and his view on James Bond.
In Ian Fleming's novels, Bond was explicitly a weapon to be used against the communists. In the films, Bond more often faced off against Spectre, but during the Cold War, the imaginations of the audience would undoubtedly replace Spectre with the Soviet Union. And there are other more explicit...
I don't know. I think it was pretty explicit who he was up against, and they made it very clear who the bad guy was, and we didn't have to go... What was Spectre before? We didn't care. It wasn't important.
This guy is really reading way too much into audience thought at the time period. Audiences don't usually think like that.
The bad guys are the commies. It's like, no, it's whoever the... Who's this? What was the... I don't even remember the stories, because you have to go specifically to each movie to find out who the bad guy was. Because after Blofeld, it was all random. It was just some random gold guy, some random dude who wanted to have a moon base or whatever the hell. Like Moonraker was nuts.
Goldfinger? Or...
Yeah, Goldfinger was one. Like, yeah, there's all these villains that were just over the top weird. I don't think they affiliated with any particular government style. They were essentially just power mongers, just doing whatever they wanted because they were billionaires. All right.
Just
Cold War is in the film series. In the decade prior to the earliest Bond films of the 1960s, anti-intellectualism was given the stamp of approval by celebrity figures and politicians. In 1954, President Eisenhower said, "I heard a definition of an intellectual that I thought was very interesting. A man who takes more words than are necessary to tell more than he knows." Oh, Ike's got jokes. According to Richard...
That's fine. That's when someone doesn't know how to write. When someone like
consider the video up to this point and consider whether that applies.
I'm not saying
where is the lie?
Yeah, I'm not saying long man bad, but what I am saying, you could, if you're a writer or an author or someone learning how to write or doing an essay or a thesis, those things get thick. So you have to learn to be concise and get to the point. And this is a good example. And it doesn't matter if he's talking about intellectualism in the McCarthy era or today. You can see a good writer or author or whomever by how succinct and exact their language is. So that's a simple general rule, I would say.
Richard Hofstater of Anti-Intellectualism in American Life, the right-wing crusade of the 1950s was full of heated rhetoric about Harvard professors, twisted thinking intellectuals in the State Department, those who are burdened with Phi Beta Kappa keys and academic honors, those who try to fight communism with kid gloves in perfumed drawing rooms.
Okay, wait a second. Is he talking about people who aren't communists, who don't have the intellectual know-how to argue?
Message for you.
If that's all it is,
shall I add in more? Shall I take care of it, or do you want to add?
What's that?
Crow would like to, was wondering if he could come on.
If he wants, yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. This is going to take a while, though. I don't know if he's up for it, but sure, if he wants to.
Okay.
So the implication is that you need to be some sort of...
Then.
Yeah, go ahead. The implication is that somehow you need to be some sort of intellectual to argue against communism or to argue against the state or this or that. You don't need an argument when you're talking about failed political ideologies and failed regimes. You just go to history, say, read the history books. What happened in World War I and II? What were those countries trying to do? What were those systems of government? How did they succeed? How did they fail? You don't need an argument when you have evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know the history of communism, what was it? What was the average number of murders from Pol Pot or deaths in the millions by Stalin? Like, these are crazy numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how you got there or your policies or your systems. You killed millions of your countrymen off. These are things to be avoided.
I just think, like, Renegade Cut, he just has this bizarre, like, almost, like, deified view of universities. As if they're, like, just being educated in a university on any subject just means that you're so far above the average person, and that they should just take whatever you say at face value, just on faith, like yours. Which is funny because universities were originally they were institutions of religion. They were where you trained up the priests and stuff. You know, the universities were founded by the church. You know, so it's funny that he has this such a bizarre, like, just believe whatever academics tell you, and conflating the validity of something like physics with something like fucking critical race theory and gender studies and toxic masculinity and the socio-cultural shut the fuck up. Like, it's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb.
Post-colonialism.
Like, this isn't like science. This isn't like, they're not proving their things. It's just waxing lyrical about nonsense. It's just so far up their own fucking ass, and you're just supposed to respect it. You're just supposed to, like, respect it as if it's the same thing as something you can actually test.
Yeah, and also another problem is they keep moving the goalposts frequently.
It's a mentality of they cannot possibly be wrong. They went to university. They went there to be smart. I have a degree, therefore I must be smart.
Yeah.
Smart people are never wrong.
University good. So people so smart when they go to university. And, like, I have a degree, but it's like, that's not why I know I'm smart. I know I'm smart because I know I'm smart. Like, I don't need the degree to tell me, and I shouldn't need. It's so fucking weird. It's like he takes that as the argument in and of itself. Like, look, people who have been to university say that, or professors say, and it's like, so you should just believe it. Because if you don't, then you're an anti-intellectual. You're a reactionary anti-intellectual.
It's
like, what the fuck?
Professors have differing views on lots of topics, especially with history. History is full of differing takes all over the place. Like, people are, like, I had this explained to me by a history teacher. Like, history teachers, sometimes they're spurred to do essays on a particular topic because they just are so angry or irritated with somebody else's take that they disagree with, that they do the research to disprove that person.
Yeah.
That's a good motivation I have for a lot of people I watch on YouTube. So yeah. Anyway, I'm a little confused what this author is saying right here, because it sounds like he's bashing people who go to school, but then he's saying then there's those who try to fight capitalism with kid gloves. I'm like, or communism with kid gloves. I'm like, wait a second. Are they the same people? That doesn't sound right.
I'm confused who he's aiming this.
Yeah.
I'm also confused. I'm also confused if by communism he means literally the USSR. Like, does he actually mean, like, as in the actual Cold War, like, not just the ideology in general?
That's what this quote is going at. I think that what this is basically a like war dog type person who is saying the intellectuals are slowing us down. We cannot like just let the USSR like go unchecked. We can't just do this. This is like not cool.
It is an interesting look at American history because they seem to want to not police the world, but make sure the world does not follow in certain footsteps of the past. And that's fine as a theory, but in practice, it turns you into the policeman of the world, where you're going in search of giants. So there's lots of interesting lessons we learned from the Bay of Pigs, how it was handled in Cuba. So these are things that we've learned through history that maybe we shouldn't be, trying to stomp out things before there's a problem to cause. But preemptive war is a thing in America, so I don't know these answers. These are big ideas, but we're not even getting that far with what we're talking. He's just talking about the idea of anti-intellectualism in regards to not going to school to learn communism, I think. A little confused, but anyway, let's keep going.
Gloves in perfumed drawing rooms. Much of this anti-intellectualism is Americentric, but the United States and the United Kingdom don't simply share certain cultural attitudes, they share media. British theaters are flooded with American films. The James Bond films may be partly the property of Eon Films, a British film production company, but they are generally co-produced by MGM, an American media company, and distributed by the likes of 20th Century Fox, among others, over the years. The US and UK also trade in politics. The policies of both Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher in the 1980s, for example, are seen as complementary.
I don't think that means traded politics. I think they just got along and signed trade deals, and I don't know. What else would they do?
Didn't dislike each other. And also, this is the era of the Cold War. Like-minded people are going to stick together.
Yeah.
I'm confused what his hypothesis is here. Like, what? Like, is he saying like the British people voted in a certain way because of interactions with America?
Like that happens naturally anyway when world leaders negotiate. So I just want to know exactly what that refers to, because I'm sure even Friday, I don't know if you guys knew, but we had the first phone call with President Biden to Trudeau. They talked for half an hour, and it was pretty much just buy our vaccine, Canada. Yeah, okay. Sorry about cutting 80,000 jobs from everyone in Canada and the States, but yeah, got to save the planet or something. It's like, oh, thanks, Biden. That's great. So
the virus was saving the planet.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that's fantastic. I'm sure everyone loves you, Biden. It's a fantastic week you're having. So these things happen all the time. People negotiate, get things done. That was kind of the big shtick of Trump. He had all the, not embargoes, but that was those crazy trade deals. He redid the North American trade agreement a few times, the free trade agreement between Canada and Mexico, like for years. So every time he was, every year for his 4-year reign was pretty much just, let's renegotiate NAFTA. Let's block some tariffs from China, like do stuff with China all the time. So these things happen a lot. And unless he's specific, I want to know what he's talking about, because I'm quite sure that there were some taxes involved when you start opening up trade routes between two countries. So I don't know.
Bond is a product of the 1950s, his first fictional adventure appearing in novels from that era, the decade of the rise of anti-intellectualism as popular convention. By 1962, Dr. No, the first Bond film, was a smash. In GoldenEye, Bond expresses his opinion of the new M in anti-intellectual terms, claiming his instincts are greater than her research, analysis, and calculations.
You think I'm an accountant, a bean counter more interested in my numbers than your instincts.
The thought had occurred to me.
Good.
The audience is meant to side with Bond here, reinforcing his anti-intellectual dog whistle.
No, he's just doesn't know anything about her.
I don't think so. I'm also fucking dog whistle. Fuck me.
Oh,
Come on.
This is a consistent theme with this video. It's just like conflating new boss reticence with anti-intellectualism and sexism.
But it's also like, oh, it's saying this. Like, no, it's just believable that a character would doubt that, like, someone who's only like theorized about
behind
it
a chair, but
yeah,
only
like,
been behind a chair, and
that's a
is saying, "Go
natural-
kill said person."
Yeah, that's a natural fucking reaction to someone who doesn't actually have to do what you do, telling you how to do it. Like, it's to act as if there's whole agenda behind it.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
just so ridiculous.
The only thing I strangely recall about that scene is my predecessor had a bottle of bourbon in the counter, but I use Irish whiskey. I don't know, it was some other drink, right? So she obviously changed up her office because it's her office, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." Like, it was just this. That's the only thing I really remember about that scene, and them not really agreeing with each other yet because they just met. That's normal.
I think that what we're seeing here is basically the mirror being held up to Renegade Cut. He thinks that all of these movies have an agenda because he thinks that all movies should have an agenda, whether that's good or bad, and then he can critique.
Yeah, and that agenda should be his agenda. That agenda should be.
Yeah.
But think about it. This is the 90s. This has nothing to do with the McCarthy era or anti-intellectualism or whatever the hell he's talking about. This is just Pierce Brosnan. New guy, new M. That's it.
Knew him. Who this?
Who are you? I don't trust you. I've never seen you before. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm on a mission. I guess I'll put my faith in you because, that's my job.
I just think it put on like a thought experiment for 2 fucking minutes and looked at all these James Bond movies looking for lefty liberal themes. I bet you could find them. I bet you could find things
you
in
can
and
do
go,
that with
see,
all
it's
movies.
promoting a sort of lefty view on things. I 100% believe that if you just put on those kind of goggles, put on that lens and look at them that way, I'm sure you could find stuff.
Like, some people on the left really like Aquaman, but for whatever reason, Remarkable Republican says that it's the ultimate conservative masterpiece.
I'm what? I am baffled by both of those takes. Why does the left like Aquaman? What?
Because they like Amber Heard.
What?
As well as they like the fact that Jason Momoa, it's like the best version of King Arthur on cinema that we've had. Really, according to them.
Wow, I like Jason Momoa, but not in Aquaman. I like him as a Ronin in Atlantis. Stargate Atlantis,
yeah.
not.
I like him fine as
Oh, I forgot. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah. Where he barely says anything.
Yeah. He's good at playing stoic characters like Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones, where he doesn't speak any English.
Yeah, big, strong, charismatic guy. There you go.
And as Aquaman, he's kind of a surf dude.
Yeah.
But yeah.
As correct. Framing is critical, and the Bond films do not frame 007's bravado as a negative.
Why would they do that? Why would you put the hero, the over-the-top action hero, and frame his whatever as negative, unless that was the story? I can't think of an exact... Maybe Skyfall. Maybe where he comes to terms with himself, and that's part of his problems. But every other Bond film is like, Bond is awesome. He's doing the awesome thing. Let him be awesome and save the girl and save the day. That's the thing. What?
This guy is taking a look at wish fulfillment male films and saying, this should be my type of male wish fulfillment film. It should be stuffed with politics. It should be critiquing imperialism and colonialism and the British imperial system, the British government. It should be focusing on critiquing Bond's toxic masculinity.
Also, there should be just no conflict. No conflict between the characters that are on the same side. They should all just go, this is the plan. I agree. That is a good plan. I will follow your plan because I agree and we do not have any disagreements on the plan.
Message coming in.
Like,
patching it through.
that would be a shit fucking movie. If your
Yeah, it would
movie
be
has like
bad.
all the characters that are on the quote unquote good side, right? Like all the characters, they all just agree. They have no opinions on the plan whatsoever. They always go, "Yes, that is a good plan. It has been worked out with statistics to be the best plan. We will do this plan. Yay!" Yeah, like that would be
Yes.
like
Spoopy.
We don't function like that.
fuck, bro.
Well,
We
you
have
wouldn't.
egos.
You wouldn't have a story worth telling if you had everyone agree on everything. I remember even reading Tom Clancy books where the plot is paper thin, and you have discussions and problems with the team who are all the good guys, and they don't agree with the plan, but they're going to go along with it because they're soldiers and they're going to do it anyway. So, yeah, you need conflict. You need to have elements like that in your story, regardless of where that's from. Alex Halo, thank you. We all know Saber is the best Arthur. I don't know. That's the strangest Arthur I've ever seen, actually. King Arthur's a chick who impregnated the queen, and no, stop it.
Well, there's always Avalon High. I think is one of the weirdest King Arthur adaptations I've ever seen.
Is that?
It's King
Please tell
Arthur
me.
in a modern high school.
Oh.
It's a Disney Channel original movie.
I was gonna say like, please don't tell me that is what I think it is, but
Oh
you
my
fucking told
god!
me.
I just googled it. Wow.
I remember that when it came out.
Holy!
The whole football team is like the Knights of the Round Table.
Is she King Arthur?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she is King Arthur.
I did not know this
It's a
existed.
big twist at the end.
Oh my
You didn't know
god!
this existed?
The
Holy!
teacher is like
The teacher is Mordred.
Yeah.
The teacher is Mordred's reincarnation, and for a while you think it's the typical high school jock type who's King Arthur. But no, it subverts the crap out of your expectations, and it turns out the girl has been King Arthur the whole time.
Wow.
Any sword she picks up turns into Excalibur. She picks up a stage sword from the high school play, and it turns into legitimately Excalibur. And that's the teacher's big plan at the end when he loses, because security comes running in, and he's like, "That student brought in a weapon." She just drops it and it turns back into a plastic sword. It's just, why do I remember this?
God, why?
Yeah.
What have you done to me, Dunn?
I mean, at least they got a nice, good Scottish girl in the back. It's like, all right, fine. You got the redhead going. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Guinevere. Yeah,
That's Guinevere. Oh no.
Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. We'll keep going. I thought I had problems with Fate's Day
Buried in my
Night.
head.
That's
Why
just
does everything have to be high school? I fucking hate it.
Well, it's Disney Channel original movie. All of them are set in high school.
yeah, but it's
No,
the
but it's
same.
not just that. It's the fucking Gotham High comic thing and like shit like that. It's
Yeah.
like, fucking stop it.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's the same.
Stop.
it's even
It's the
worse.
same with Japan, though. They do
It's
everything
even
in high
worse.
school too.
It's even worse. It's an adaptation of a book, I think.
Fucking.
Here's Alex Hale to share more
Message
thoughts on
coming in.
Fate's Day Night and why I don't want to
Action
talk
through.
about it, but okay. Saber got turned into a temporary futa by Merlin so she could have a kid without people knowing she's a girl, and she gets raped by Morgan instead. What the hell? What?
Alex Halo, you gotta get a new hobby, dude.
Fate is kind of trash. Not gonna lie.
Oh.
Jeez.
Halo.
What do you think about that, Alex?
Thanks, Alex.
Playing the otaku degeneracy
Alex
for
Taylor
everyone to see.
Alex Taylor was furiously typing. He's just...
Hashtag cancel dollface.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. That's enough. We're getting back to Renegade Cut now.
Back to Renegade Cut, where everything made sense.
Now I need to watch. Now I need to watch that movie.
Oh.
Depiction not equal endorsement, of course, but the films are framed for Bond to be right, for M to be wrong, or at least less right, and for the audience to sympathize.
Hey, guess what, Renegade Cut? That's every character with a conflict ever. They have two opposing opinions, and the story reveals that some of them are right and some of them are wrong.
Science man is never wrong. Magic science man. Always correct about everything.
Isn't the point of being a spy figuring out information while undercover?
It's part of it.
Like, also science. It's not about changing your opinion when new evidence is presented. It's just right from the get go. It's just and it's always right, and it never changes its opinion on things. That's clearly the position that he has, because he couldn't be like the BBC's like, okay, I will factor this in to my calculations in the future or whatever. Like I'll bear this in mind or whatever. But no, it's just no. Science is just right. Science, just believe it. Just have no questions. No scientists disagree with each other.
Well, you might have thought
the
field expert knows a little bit more about espionage because he's been doing it all his life than M. And hey, it turns out he does. Wow, isn't that amazing?
And it's also like his instincts. It's where do you think he fucking got those instincts? Like his instincts are in a way, sort of they're sort of a statistical construct in a way, because they come from the statistics of his experiences that have been built up over his experiences, right? So he doesn't necessarily have them in a spreadsheet somewhere, but that's where instincts kind of build from. If you don't have them initially, that's where they come from. It's a statistical analysis that's kind of subconsciously happening in your own head from your experiences, and it's
I think he went over this already, talking about how Bond has different forms of intelligence. And not all of them, but he went through some. So it's like, all right, he admits that Bond is intelligent, just not the kind of intelligent that he likes, which is the bookish whatever university intelligence, whatever that means. Anyway, let's not keep going on that because we already covered it.
With Bond and therefore his implied worldview. Let this be perfectly clear. This does not mean that Bond is an anti-intellectual because he, stays in shape, or even because he shoots people for Queen and Country. Bond being a man of action merely makes him attractive to those with pre-existing anti-intellectual views, predating...
Okay, whoa. Let's slow down here. He originally started this idea.
So the fact that he's a Chad makes him a dog whistler. Great.
Yeah, okay, so first he said Bond was the anti-intellectual. Then he went, wait a second, no, Bond does have an intelligence that's different than the bookish kind. And now he's saying, no, he travels around, he knows stuff, he's experienced. He's not the anti-intellectual. People who like him are. Predating Bond.
He just called all of us stupid.
I only really like the
stupid.
How can he move the
The only
goalpost
Bond
on his
movies that I
own
really
premise?
like are the Daniel Craig movies, and even then, I totally admit they have several of them have problems. And I've only seen 3 of them.
I'm not even that.
Let me
big
just give
of
an
a
example of
Bond
this.
fan.
Let's say I think Dunn is an idiot. I say, Dunn, you're an idiot. Wait a second. I don't mean you're an idiot. I mean the teachers who taught you are idiots, therefore you're an idiot. Wait a second, Dunn. I didn't mean that the teachers who taught you are idiots, it makes you an idiot. I mean the people who think you're smart, they're the idiots because of the teachers who are idiots who taught you you're an idiot. Like, it's just this constant redefinition of his original premise.
It's an Ouroboros that will never, ever end.
It's weird. Like, how do you think that, like, you would never finish an essay like this and go, yeah, this is good. This is great. Let's go with this.
You would never put this in an essay, period, because this is stupid.
It's almost circular logic. You're just starting with a premise, changing it, and then redefining what you said, and then changing it again, and then redefining. It just keeps going. You're like, what are you doing? Now he's probably going to accuse Ian Fleming of being an anti-intellectual or something because he wrote the thing, and that's where Bond comes from. And then the era that he was in was anti-intellectual. I just,
It's really frustrating, clearly.
Bond. Character need not openly declare, I am an anti-intellectual, whilst winking at the camera, but that's because he never needs to in order for his role as the avatar of this worldview to be...
Okay, this is just...
What? Wow, the avatar of this worldview. Huh.
This is crazy. Yes, Bond is a period piece. Whenever they're made, you could tell the style, the fashion, the politics, the action scenes, the camera work, the aesthetic, the choreography, everything about it is a period piece. We get it. That doesn't mean Bond is the avatar of the period. Everything's an avatar of the period in that regard, but not in the way that you think. That's silly. Bond does not represent the British Isles or the UK world of 1962 or whatever. What about the new Bonds? What about Brosnan? What about Timothy Dalton? Like what? Clearly not. It's post Cold War.
Clear to the audience. Bond merely needs to exist as Bond in order to be the hero of anti-intellectualism.
Oh God.
He doesn't think, he acts. And when
He doesn't think.
He doesn't think.
Bond.
He's a genius.
What the fuck are you on about?
Huh? Just needs to exist, huh? That's a big brain take if I've ever heard it.
I assume he means he doesn't think the way that an intellectual would think in his definition.
But he conflates though, like, fucking M and her having like statistics on what are the best tactics to use or whatever. I can see he conflates that with fucking gender studies, and he puts gender studies on the same fucking level of intellectual as actual science.
And when he does
insane.
think it's about sex or something acceptable to the audience, you're like, what do you? What?
If Renegade Cut is an intellectual, then yeah, I'm anti-intellectual.
Yeah, okay.
Fucking Spurg.
Yeah, why would we want to be smart if it makes us like Renegade Cut?
This is when
If that's smart, I don't want to be smart.
yeah, this is when like people like Sheep in the Box call you names. You're like, please continue. Just keep calling me all the names you know, because every time you say that, I'm just like, yes, please. I'm a moron. I'm so dumb. You must know better than I do. Please. Oh boy. Oh.
Yeah. It's just hilarious to me.
does think it's about sex or something acceptable to adopters of this worldview, like effective ways to ward off bad guys, especially communists, or entities that audiences would liken to communism due to not knowing enough about communism.
What the They're a bunch of mooks with guns trying to kill him. We don't think, oh yeah, he killed the communists. Like, no, we don't care. Bunch of guys in a Jeep trying to kill Bond. Yeah, well, score one for the good guys. Capitalists. Oh.
Is never portrayed as unintelligent. He's portrayed as above intelligence, wryly smirking as the know-it-all who rebukes know-it-alls.
Yes, he's smooth. He's so smart. He's been doing it for so long. He knows the pattern. He's used to it. That's what happens when you're a professional. You spin your tennis racket because you know what's going to happen next. You know, it's not. You've done it thousands of times. You've spoken to people in the same tone thousands of times. You know how to make a good joke. That's Bond. He's smooth.
Yeah, because it seems as though Renegade Cut is suffering from a number of envies. One of them likely being suaveness envy, because clearly this man is at all like James Bond is.
Yeah, if you look at other characters who are cool or smooth, like Steve McQueen, or let's take Spike from Cowboy Bebop. Like, there's something about him. You're like, what is that quality he's got? You can't quite, like, he's confident. He's cool and collected. He's really good at fighting. He's really good at hunting down things. Like, he's like a hunter. It's like he's got all these elements that are alpha male-esque while being sort of approachable and nice and serene. There's something about that mystique that is interesting to the average viewer. He's not goofing around too much. Like, okay, Roger Moore's Bond is goofing around a bit because, he's Roger Moore. But all the Bonds, sophisticated, refined pleasures, high risk scenarios, always doing crazy things. being professional, being like a MacGyver of the moment. That's cool.
He's suave and dressed, which means he does not fit the salt of the earth type that anti-intellectualism positions as being correct, but his attitudes are more in line with worldview and rhetoric than not, particularly as it relates to gender roles. Anti-intellectuals cannot resist mocking gender studies.
No.
Yeah, gee, I wonder fucking why. I wonder fucking why. It's not because they say fucking insane shit that's blatantly false, like self-evidently false. No, it's because they're just they just can't handle people being smart. No, they're just anti-intellectual because they can't handle that there are people smarter than them. Like fucking stub your fucking toe, step on a fucking Lego.
Woof, that's a take.
These are too many quotes. I could just quote his entire script at this point. It's like, this is wrong. This is crazy.
Have you seen that video of what's his name? It's from one of those like mystery. It's that show where it's like mysteries, but it's like sometimes they're true and sometimes they're false. Or is it like factor
Jonathan
fiction?
Message coming.
No. But it's like
Patching it through.
no. It's like factor fiction, like mysteries show, and it's
Mythbusters.
No.
Didn't tell a lie.
No. It's like they have like a story, and it'll be like acted out, and it'll be like this thing really happened, or did it? And at the end, he'll say whether it happened or not. There's like a compilation where he's like, "That is wrong. That didn't happen. That's false."
Yeah, that's Jonathan
made it
Frakes.
up.
He was the host of one of those shows. I can't remember what it was called though. Like Factor Fiction, something like that.
Yeah. It's like, that's false. We made that one
Yeah,
up.
exactly. Yeah.
That was made by our writers. Like, like that. Just a 40-minute compilation of that.
Just Jonathan Frakes coming in. No, we made that up. That's stupid.
We
That's
made
great.
that up. Yeah, that is not
That's hilarious. It's
Oh,
honestly
boy.
really funny.
Mariner 1712. Thank you, sir. Speaking of communist mooks, watched Capito Falcao. What the? Sorry, I can't pronounce those letters. An incredible parody of politics
Falcon,
and the Adam West Batman formula with fascist heroes fighting sickle-wielding bearded comrades. It's actually incredible as a film. Okay, let me write that down.
Hey, that's hilarious. That sounds amazing.
Thank you, Mariner 7012. Yeah, I've never heard of that, so I guess that would be like poison to Renegade Cut. Like, oh my god, this is horrible. Not funny.
University and decrying feminism, socialism, and anti-imperialism as being owned by the elites, even though its opposites, meaning capitalism and imperialism, are utilized by the actual elites, governments with far-reaching military powers.
You're actually so fucking dumb. Like you're so fucking dumb. Like, I'm just, how the fuck can you be this fucking dumb?
You know that time when
what do
someone
you
says a
even say to
speech
that?
or someone says something in public and you just sit there and no one has anything to say? Like you just stare at the guy like, oh god.
Why are you so dumb?
We've been doing this for the past
Like-
the 5 minutes of his video, like from last stream. Like we would just sit there like we don't know what to say.
This is just so abjectly stupid, and I don't know what is wrong with this man's audience.
He has to
I'm-
describe like
How the fuck? Like literally fucking Anita Sarkeesian meeting at the fucking UN. You know? Like talking to the UN. And it's like she's the fucking underdog. Dude, she's against the elites. You know, like are you fucking serious? Like what world are you fucking on, dude? Like and universities, people who go to universities, they are the most pro all of these restrictions for COVID-19. right? Like the people who go to university and professors are the most likely to be in favor of as many restrictions as possible, as opposed to the anti-intellectuals and the populists and all of this stuff that he decries. So they're not, like, how the fuck are they not the elites? They are completely in line with what the governments are doing. They're completely in fucking line. And all these massive corporations, the fucking Amazon, Facebook, Google, whatever, like, they are the most pro-immigration people. They're not, like, campaigning for less immigration. They're not campaigning for stricter immigration. They're not in favor of any of those things. They aren't pro-Trump. You know? They aren't pro-imperialism. And far from it. If you express views that are actually pro-imperialism, you'll get banned. You know, like,
girl.
Insane.
Yeah, it gets worse. Like, there was a girl who, like, I think, like, just somebody heard her say something that they didn't like, so they rummaged around in her Instagram for 10 from when she was in ninth grade, and found a racist tweet from when she was 14, and then she got dismissed from a university. It's so stupid.
And the fact that, like, the idea that universities don't have power, like that they don't wield power in society, is absolutely fucking retarded. Like, they hold so much power to determine your ability to succeed in life, especially now, because they've, in conjunction with corporations, they have made it so that they've artificially sort of made it so that you need a degree. When in most cases, most degrees, like, I'm sorry to fucking break it to you, but they're fucking worthless. They are fucking worthless. It is completely artificial. Their value is completely artificial. It doesn't actually measure that much. It doesn't actually measure your ability that fucking much, and they'd be better off just giving you a fucking IQ test for all that it predicts your ability to actually do a fucking job. Like, it's ridiculous to imply that universities don't have power, and they're fucking teaching people. Okay, they teach all of these kids that go into university, and they're there for 4 years, and they're explicitly taught things. Not this fucking bullshit, fucking roundabout, esoteric nonsense kind of way of giving views to people by, like, we're gonna have movies with themes that are gonna, like, indoctrinate people. No, they don't need that, because they have classrooms where they literally just indoctrinate people in a straightforward, like, we're just gonna tell you what's right and wrong kind of way. You know, like, they don't need this esoteric bullshit of we're gonna make movies with themes to make people imperialist. Like, you're so fucking retarded. I hope bad things happen to you. I hope you get an annoying cough, and I hope it annoys you. And I hope just bad things. I hope bad things happen to you.
Well, maybe that's the rub. Maybe he needs bad things to happen to him to realize what's more important in life.
He's like that kid. You know when you tell a kid, like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that, you'll get hurt? The most annoying fucking thing is when they don't get fucking hurt. Because then they'll think you're an idiot. They'll think, oh, this guy, what does he know? What do you mean? What do you mean I'll get hurt? This is Renegade Cut. He's like, you're like, dude, you're being retarded. This is gonna fuck you up, dude, if you keep doing this. This is retarded. But he does it, and then he keeps getting subscribers and stuff, and it's like, no, dude, no, stop. No, this is bad. And
all right.
Just this feedback mechanism of all these sycophants in his comments.
Oh,
just
boy.
Like, oh, wow.
Those commenters are another story, but that's YouTube. There's always something for everyone on YouTube. So yeah, we can't we can't address that too well. Tyler Preston, thanks. Renegade Cut 2 + 2 = 5. Checkmate, you intellectual chuds. I'm better than you. The way that this video is going, it's like he looks at the first two and he explains what 2 means in his own way. He looks at the second 2 and he's like, well, this one's different than the first 2. And I'll explain why. And then somehow he comes to this bizarre conclusion. So that's what he's doing in this case. He's looking at the intellectual, and he's describing the anti-intellectual, and he's trying to wrap a bow around it. You're just like, No, that doesn't add up exactly. So, it's the framing, it's the descriptions, it's the conclusions. Like, I don't care what conclusion he has. I really don't. I just want to know how he gets there, and it's a sign of the times. Everyone was an anti-intellectual. This is how writers were. This is how the UK was. And the UK shared thoughts with America. And you're like, okay. And here we thought, the death of the author was a thing. It's like, no. Ian Fleming was a capitalist. It's like, oh, all right.
That's what makes Bond an anti-intellectual hero. The politics that he, and by extension the films, express to the audience. Let's be clear about one more thing.
Okay, so there's politics in these Bond films that express to the audience, which I never grasped, and he didn't explain it very clearly. So it's almost as if he has this preconceived notion. It's just not expressed through the films, and he comes to this conclusion like, yes, I still think it's A. You're like, what? Having a bias, ending with a bias. Fantastic. Great life lesson there, Renegade Cut. Just, my hypothesis is always right. That's great.
The fact that Bond is attractive to people with this worldview does not mean he is exclusively attractive to people with this worldview. One can be opposed to the rise of anti-intellectualism and enjoy Bond films, but clearly this character has a certain demographic appeal. Oh, and leave Q alone. He gave you an invisible card, dude.
What?
What? How is
What do you
Bond?
mean leave Q alone? Like, what did he fucking do to you?
Yay. James Bond is a misogynist.
Base?
Yay.
We have entered the base
Oh
zone.
boy, here we go. He likes to have
Good
sex with
evening.
women. That makes him bad.
Good evening. I hate women.
He's going to show all the Connery films where women are like used for cannon fodder. Because that's what James Bond does. He has a mission. He doesn't care. He goes straight for it.
In Goldfinger, James Bond sacrifices this woman and then sexually assaults a lesbian by making her enjoy it through the power of his boner. In the novel, this is even more explicit as Bond's rape of the lesbian is considered corrective by Bond. In Thunderball, Bond tries to force...
Bond is so awesome. He gets a lesbian to love him. It's awesome.
No, that's problematic.
Honestly,
he said problematic
kind of hilarious.
I feel like this is the bit where problematic's going to come on the bingo card. I don't think he said
Oh, I
that.
forgot the bingo card. Oh, one second. Let me get it. All right. Okay, so technically we're talking about toxic masculinity, right? Okay. Oh my God, I got bingo. Wow, that was fast. Okay.
We got bingo. Yay.
We got to go even further beyond.
All right. I think by the end of this, I would have filled almost the entire card. He's talking about lesbian. Oh, he's talking about lesbianism.
So.
Oh my God, I
That'd
gotta
be cool.
fill that one. I don't even think she's lesbian. If she is, I don't think that's ever a thing that was part of the plot. Like, who cares? Either way, he sleeps with her, so that's awesome. Because he's James Bond. He's supposed to do these awesome things.
himself on a woman, and then later convinces a woman to have sex with him or else she will be fired. The new James Bond assaults this woman on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah, because she held a gun.
Wait, hang on. She had a gun. See?
What was wrong?
What?
Oh my God.
What? Huh?
I just gotta write this stuff down. It's so funny.
EFAB needs to do more Renegade Cut. Godelb would be full of this idiot's quotes.
No, you have to redo. Like Mahler would have to redo Godelb to be his own flavor of. It would be like this weird.
Yeah.
actually, sort of guy from high school, sort of nerd look sounding fellow.
Maybe it's just me, but I honestly think that the videos that we're covering are way worse than anything that EFAP covers.
I agree.
Typically, it feels like
apart from Cinematic Venom's Lord of the Rings video.
Yes. Apart from that, but even then, Maggie May Fish. But even then, Maggie May Fish is pretty bad.
She's
Maggie
still
May
the worst,
Fish is kind of like our Cinematic Venom.
All right. Let's see all these wonderful.
Like, I think that. Yeah, sorry.
I want to see all these wonderful. Like Connery's like, yeah, okay, whatever, lady. I'm gonna overpower you.
Diamonds Are Forever, Bond takes off this woman's clothes and strangles her. In Live and Let Die, Bond uses a woman's religious beliefs to con her into sex.
Sort of. He stacks the deck because she believes in fate, because she reads tarot cards. And he does it to save her.
He's flirting.
Yeah, but he has this deck of cards
flirting.
that's all lover cards. So when she draws it, like she's like, "Oh my god, you're my fated person," and then she loses her powers because she has sex. Because that's the whole thing. Again, he's being clever. Like I don't see how this is a horrible thing.
Message coming in.
He saves her life on multiple.
A woman.
Yeah, he saves her life on multiple occasions. Like, what is your problem?
Yeah, but he had sex with her. That makes it wrong.
Oh my god. Here's Alex Halo. Bond is like Shiro. He gets all the girls. Oh, well, that's just any harem anime, so it doesn't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
The Golden Gun features Bond assaulting another woman. Then we have...
Oh my god, he's assaulting people. What is this? A spy with a license to kill? What is he thinking? He doesn't have time to fool around. Hey, lady, give me the information or I'll kill you. Wow, we've never seen this in movies. What a misogynist.
The Living Daylight, which Bond strips a woman to distract someone else. In Skyfall, Bond learns a woman was sold into sex slavery when she was a child, which means she was repeatedly abused and raped her whole life, and then makes a pass at her. And on... and on, and on. I assure you that is the abridged version. One movie features objectification of women in the most literal sense of that word. The point is that when I say James Bond is a misogynist in this section, and I will a lot, I'm not talking about patting a woman on the keister or being a little insensitive in a way that is shameful but in keeping with the time it was made. No. It is far, far worse than that.
So
I don't think he's ever pleasured a woman before.
Yeah, I think. Oh dear, I think we're in the Anita Sarkeesian.
If he has, she was the easiest woman on the face of planet Earth.
Yeah, this has got to be everything's sexist, everything's racist, everything's whatever problematic section of. And I don't know what this has to do with politics. Per se, I think we jumped from talking about communism to talking about the male representation of Bond as a sexual object, which I'm okay with. But I'm like, okay, why is this bad?
Gender politics, I suppose.
Gender politics? Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Bond wins. He's the male. He's literally winning everything. So that's fine.
Yeah, because men are the best.
Did I mention the corrective rape was set to romantic music?
Gee, maybe it was seen as romantic. Maybe. Okay.
Misogyny and you.
James Bond is a big gross creep beyond the limits of what was even considered misogynist in the 1960s. But what does all this mean in the context of broader ideas about gender roles predating the Bond films that undoubtedly influenced said films? People often mistakenly define misogyny in simplest terms, a fear or hatred of women.
Oh boy, here we go. Let's redefine misogyny. This is fantastic.
The definition is, and I know that you want to you're postmodernist, so you want to depower the definition of words, but let's not, please.
Yeah. No time for thinking.
Dictionary this up after all. Complex social systems, societal organizing, historically codified behavior, and systemic oppression all wrapped up in an emotion. a feeling.
Systemic
But
pee pee
ignore
poo poo,
state
institutional
systems
systemic pee pee poo pooism. Shut the fuck up. This fucking like every time the word systemic comes in, it's inevitably just fucking nonsense. It's inevitably just fucking waffle. Like it's just this used to justify all like just saying like really retarded things, but you go, no, you don't understand. It's because it's systemic. Like it's just stop it.
The entire education system is misogynistic. Like, wait, what? How? The police are misogynists, but there's women on the police force. Yeah, they're victims of internal misogyny. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
Learned behavior becomes the background radiation of life. Kate Mann, author of Down Girl, The Logic of Misogyny.
But that's
defines
just a theory. A sociopolitical fucking peep. It's just a theory.
The logic.
It's just a fucking theory.
of
This
misogyny.
isn't like science. This isn't like a thing like, oh well, this is proven. Like no, it's just you fucking thinking about shit out of your ass.
This is your weird perspective.
Who is Kate Mann? When
Not
was she born?
fact.
Let's just see.
Yeah, he talks about this like it's just an established fact, and it's just so bizarre.
All right, she has
We
a,
got 11 minutes left. We can do this.
Twitter. She has a Twitter page. Australian philosopher, associate professor of philosophy at Cornell. Her work is primarily in feminist philosophy, moral philosophy, and social philosophy. Okay. So she graduated in 2001, 2005. Okay. University of Melbourne. So she's rather modern as far as philosophy goes. I really don't think this applies to movies that were, 60 years old. Anyway.
Term more accurately. There's a tendency to define misogyny as this deep hatred in the heart, harbored by men towards girls and women. I define misogyny as social systems or environments where women face hostility and hatred because they're women in a
I
man's world.
pull a definition out of my fucking ass.
You went, wow.
That's what I got from that. I pull a completely made up definition out of my fucking ass. Is what I get. Fuck you, Kate, man.
So, guys,
Go
when you
fuck yourself.
when you are talking about, I don't know, a system in place of, let's say I observe, I don't know, the court system or the police system or something about that, right? And we have words to describe detective or lieutenant or this or that. And we see the interpersonal dynamics of all these people, and we see whatever word we want to use. We do not redefine the word. We use a different term to explain this. Look at this, how complicated this is. Social systems or environments where women face hostility. A social system can be made of all of women, or environments which are all women. And
A
hatred.
woman walks into the man's bathroom and faces hostility. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? The world is so misogynistic. This is a misogynistic
Yeah.
space. Why are you so hostile to a woman
Look
just
at-
coming into the men's bathroom?
Look at a women's soccer team. Is that the historical patriarchy? No. So, but you get lots of rivalry there. You get lots of conflict. You're a professional. You have to perform. If you don't perform, you get fired. And that's just sports. This happens in life too.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that a hatred towards women from men, or the patriarchy, or whatever? So these terms, you can't just use the same term. You have to invent your own and then redefine it, or use a combination of words, or whatever you want to do. So it's not necessarily related to these words, but in general. When you have a theory, a social theory, whatever theory, make your own words up. Use those definitions, please. This is not helping.
Historical key. By mistakenly defining misogyny merely as a hatred of women, it opens up a bad faith counter-argument in favor of the misogynist. I can't be a misogynist, you might
Was.
say. I love women. This means that because the man who has been accused of misogynist behavior dates women, is married to a woman, has daughters, or has a good relationship with his mother, he cannot be a misogynist. If misogyny only means hatred of women, and the man associates with women either romantically or within the confines of his immediate family, then that man has his very own get-out-of-jail-free card.
Because you changed the definition.
Work out a different fucking word, retard.
You changed the definition so that way you can blame them.
Yeah, you change the definition, then go, oh, actually, you are. Because knowing full well what definition they're using.
Yeah, so we've heard this many times over the years. If you're married to a woman, you know the defense is, well, I don't hate my wife. She's a woman. And it's like, no. In general, it's like, well, I don't really think about other women, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? Like, where are you going with this?
Uh-huh.
I could say I don't like puppies because they're annoying and they cost me time and money and resources I don't want to give away. Does that make me a hatred towards puppies? No. I just don't want a puppy. This is really like what? Well, we know what this is, but the logic behind it is so hard to grasp.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend, therefore I'm not misogynist. It's like, well, in what context? Do you hate your girlfriend? Oh, you must hate all women. It's like, no. Ay. Plenty of old people who are still together love each other and hate each other. It's part of growing old. Okay, they're not misogynistic or what's the females hate men? What's the term for that? Misandry. Thank you.
Misandrist, yeah.
So I don't think that's how it works. They just have a great passion towards their partner because they've been together for so long. So when you see old couples swearing and getting angry at each other, that's normal. Okay. That might even be healthy. I don't know.
It's the I black friend of misogynist defensiveness. Men who sometimes date black women can still be racist because racism is not about simple love and hate, nor is it only about sexual desire. Ditto for misogyny. Misogyny is about control over women as a social system, particularly when women are in what men consider to be men's spaces, which is really just any position of authority or even agency.
What? What?
Let's roll that back.
What?
Let's roll that back. What?
System, particularly when women are in what men consider to be men's spaces, which is really just any position of authority or even agency.
You can what?
Wow.
What? Like you can't just have a fucking night with the boys. You can't just have a Saturday with the boys and be like, no, this is for the boys. No, that's misogynist.
No,
here's a male space that's for where you have a position of authority. Like that. What the fuck?
It's worse. It's like they don't like it's worse. He thinks that they're opposed to like guys not wanting women bosses.
I just want to have a fucking old one with the boys. God damn it.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Comparatively, men who date women are not somehow excused from being accused of misogyny. Heterosexuality has never been a tonic to cure misogyny. If it were, the dominant sexuality on Earth would have prevented misogyny from existing.
What is he talking about?
What does this have to do with what you're talking? What?
He's talking
There's
about
a
theoretical.
whole lot of no.
And trying to say if this was real, we wouldn't have misogyny. It's like we never said heterosexuality was a tonic for hatred towards people.
What does that have to do with loving your mother?
I don't think we want to know what that has to do with loving our mothers.
Gone a bit Freudian.
Yeah, so it still comes down to
Oedipal, yeah.
Even if you're married and
Very
love your
Oedipal,
wife,
yeah.
even if you have a girlfriend and love her, even if you have a sister and love her, you could still be a misogynist and you don't know it because there are systems in place which you agree with.
Love them in spite of them being a woman.
You know what's really interesting? Why don't you just see everyone as an individual and say, I like certain people, certain ways? Why is that so difficult? And it has nothing to do with their gender or sex or this or that. I don't think people are that complicated to think in broad strokes. Like, I hate all Chinese people. Like, that's silly. Maybe there are people like that, but I really don't think it's that high.
Message coming in.
Most of the people
Patch
I
it
would
through.
consider my intellectual enemies are dudes.
I hate men that are stupid.
Are you saying women are stupid?
Okay.
I don't hate a lady enough to consider her my intellectual enemy. Not even Maggie May. Maggie May Fish is just so dumb that she's entertaining.
Yeah. She's crazy. Well, dumb is another term. I don't know. That's a combination of stupidity and craziness.
Biased. She is biased to the point of dumb.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so is Renegade Cut, I would say too. Yeah. It's clouded his judgment so far. Anyway, Tyler Preston, thank you. I feel like Renegade Cut will defend misandry because of my systematic oppression. And remember, all male feminists are sexual predators. No. That's right.
Yeah, they kind of are a little bit. They're all fedora tipping neckbeards who want to get poontang
Yeah, well,
really bad.
I don't know these people. I don't hang out with them, so I don't know how that works. So I don't want to find out.
Don't.
Yeah.
Whereas anti-SJWs wouldn't even rape you.
Oh God.
You're making the anti-intellectual decision there, Smudge,
Yeah.
not hanging out with a man.
The anti-SJW. Yeah.
Anti-SJWs mostly don't want to go to prison, so they're not going to break the law.
Here's Fran. Hey, Fran. Renegade Cut would love a redo of Healer. It features a protag that surprise snuggles women who wronged him. Oh my God. There are plenty of there are so many strange mangas out there that will be like, okay, that's strange, but you know, the girl's okay with whatever's going on, so I guess it's not assault, apparently. Yeah, it's kind of as if human and male. Sorry?
Surprise hugging. That's
Yeah, no, there's don't ask. There's too many weird things in manga to think. But it's kind of interesting how we have males and females, and the relationship and behavior between the two are kind of complex, and you can't just narrow it down to this societal system of whatever institution is causing us to think a certain way. There's a lot more to it than that.
Male-female dynamics are complicated.
No kidding. Oh boy.
Since the beginning of the species. As it obviously has not, this defense is bunk. And if this
Who the hell made this defense? Dude, you invented a defense. Okay, that's a straw man if ever I heard one. Holy crap. Oh, it's already free on my
Let's reverse it.
bingo
Let's reverse
card.
it so we get the full context.
sexuality on would have prevented misogyny from existing since the beginning of the species. As it obviously has not, this defense is bunk. And if this defense is bunk, then it stands to reason that misogyny is more than hating women. In real life,
What?
No.
How does that? How have
No,
you-
no. You changed the definition, and then you went through on this whole fucking wild goose chase to say, and this is why the definition is this. But your premise relied on that being the definition in the first place. Like, relied on the definition being the new definition that you pulled out of your ass. So it's self-defeating. It's a circular reasoning.
Man, I could take this video apart and spend a good 2 weeks just responding to every one of his every one of his sentences. And holy jeez. All right, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 parts of my bingo card not filled in yet. The rest is red.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is intense. So dense, so much crap going on.
It's so dense. There's so much bullcrap on the screen at one time.
misogynists are rarely as brazen as the fictional James Bond. This is because misogynists generally believe they are in the moral right by preserving a status quo that feels correct to them. They want to be socially and morally...
Oh, wow. He gave her a peck on the lips. The girl who actually likes James Bond, the original Moneypenny. How horrible. Show scenes that are relevant to your conversation, please.
correct. By enforcing misogyny as status quo, they can achieve this. A lot of misogynistic behavior is directed toward women who violate patriarchal norms and expectations. Or who are
Peterson, bingo.
They are.
Put it on the bingo card, the Peterson.
Misogynistic behavior is directed toward women who violate patriarchal norms and expectations, or who aren't serving male interests in the way in which they are expected. Misogynists rarely admit to their misogyny because the invisible hierarchies that govern our social...
The invisible hierarchies. The invisible hierarchies. Like, this is literally like, oh, I have a friend here. Oh, well, I don't see them. No, you don't understand. Well, obviously you can't see them. They're only letting me see them. But trust me, they're there. Oh, okay, but I can't see them. It's also like, it's like a con man coming up to you and go, oh, you have this disease. And it's like, well, I don't feel like I have this disease. No. Only I can diagnose you with having this disease. And it just so happens that I'm the only person who has the cure for this disease. And you have to give me $1,000 for me to cure this disease. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. You just have to do this.
Second opinion on this.
It's like, no, you don't understand. I'm the only one who can diagnose it. Of course, you can't see that you have this disease, but just trust me, bro. Just trust me. You have to give me all your money, or else you will die of this disease. It's that level of just like.
Is this?
You could just be making it up, and there's like no way to know because it's like, oh well, you can't know.
Is he just like? You got the random clip of Peterson. He's not going to reference him or have him speak. He's just going to show him in the background while he has a platitude. Is that it?
Yes. So.
Here's an enemy I don't like. Let me put him on the screen and talk about misogyny. I was like, what? Are you for real? Could have put any guy. You could have put any male up on screen. I had the same logic. What are you talking about?
Like, what the fuck has Jordan Peterson ever said that's like women should be like the patriarchal stereotypes, or like women should be like, oh, what the fuck? He has no problem with women being like professionals or like women working in like, I don't know, fucking business or whatever. Like, why the fuck has he ever said anything like that?
He said quite the opposite. Like, he said, like, on the Joe Rogan, one of his appearances on the Joe Rogan podcast, he said, I tell the young men and the young women as well, but the young men need to hear it as well. He specifically mentions young women need to hear this, that no, you shouldn't sheathe your competitive instincts. You shouldn't take a back seat. You should be a monster and learn to control it. That's how Jordan Peterson thinks. It's very he's very much in line with kind of the idea that you should have you should always have ambition. You should have something of the will to power and understanding what you are good at, and then do whatever you're best at. It's really, really weird that he is taking Jordan Peterson as a misogynist just because he refuses to see government mandated pronouns as a good thing.
Yeah, he was. The first case was that Senate hearing, but that was a talk about free speech and bill. I can't remember the number, but he was talking about how this is going to be a bad precedent to set, which unfortunately passed because Canada. And now we have this silly law where if someone asks to be called, I'm an attack helicopter, you have to either call them that or they're going to call the cops on you, which is kind of ridiculous, but they can do that now. I don't know how it's enforced. I've never heard of anyone who went to jail for that. I don't know what the sentencing is. I have no clue. I doubt there's that much fines involved, but it's still it's on the books, is what I'm saying. So that was a while ago, though. Right, I think in this case he's talking about. He usually references that. Was it Norway? It was that study they showed where if you had one of the most equalized scenarios for men and women to get jobs and have an education, that they ended up defaulting to the gender roles or the roles that were specified by gender. So like males become engineers, women become nurses, that sort of thing. So interesting stuff. And he's just quoting the study. He's not even like advocating for it. He's not, he's trying to say this is how it works. Like, no, he's just saying this is what happened. That's all I remember him talking about gender roles. Everything else has been getting your life in order. But
or just philosophical stuff, like examining and explaining Nietzsche and how Nietzsche is actually useful in certain cases.
Yeah, he's also very anti-communist, so I guess that would be a good reason for Renegade Cut to just showcase him as Mr. Evil or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They believe if the hierarchy has been violated, women are being morally objectionable or have the incorrect attitude. If women...
No, he never said that. I'm sorry. I really don't think he ever said that.
You are a liar. Wrong. You're wrong. You're lying.
Have been cast as subordinates or support for men over the centuries, then this hostility toward their own agency comes from the alarm of being usurped or neglected.
Agency of what? What are you talking about? What, like...
This guy's crazy. Like, he's legitimately off his rocker.
What man is stopping a woman from doing what they want when they're in a relationship? Like, give me an example.
Usually, if you're married, you will support your wife unless it's in an abusive relationship.
In most cases,
it becomes possible.
In most cases, it's the man giving the woman what she wants constantly. It's like, honey, what do you need? I need pickles. I need this. I need that. Let me go get them for you. Okay, what else do you need? All right, good. I'm going to do my thing now, but I'll be back in 2 hours, whatever. I don't know if you've have you met old people? Have you listened and see their day-to-day? It's like, I want to go here. I'm going to go with you. Then I'm going to stop over there. And we'll get some this or that. And then they want stuff. It's a collective organization. It's not just one way. And if you're the person with the car, you're the one driving the other person around. Or they share a car. It's basic relationship stuff, or else you would not be together. If you don't do what the other wants to do, you break up. Funny how that works. You have to have a relationship where people agree on stuff and like the same things and associate with those interests. It's very basic stuff. So yes, relationships don't happen if they disagree and don't like the same things. It's very simple.
The aforementioned book, Kate Mann gives this schematic illustration. Imagine a person in a restaurant who
okay, there we go.
Expects not only to be treated deferentially, the customer always being right, but also to be served the food he ordered attentively and with a smile. He expects to be made to feel cared for and special, as well as to have his meal brought to him, a somewhat vulnerable position, as well as a powerful one for him to be in. Imagine now that this customer comes to be disappointed. His server is not serving him, though she is waiting on other tables, or perhaps she appears to be lounging around lazily or just doing her own thing, inexplicably ignoring him. Worse, she might appear to be expecting service from him in a baffling role reversal. Either way, she is not behaving in the manner to which he is accustomed in such settings. It is easy to imagine this person becoming confused, then resentful.
What the fuck is this retarded analogy?
What was that?
What the fuck is it? What? Huh?
When you go to a restaurant, okay, you expect full service. You expect your food to arrive reasonably fast. You expect the bill to be added up correctly, and everything else to be perfect. Okay?
Like, what is this supposed to be a fucking metaphor for?
I don't know.
What the fuck kind of retarded? What?
This is how we judge restaurants, guys. If the waiter's not perfect, if the food is not exceptional, if the sound level's not low, if it's not like, there's so many factors that go into your experience, not just the food and the waiter, but everything around you. Okay, it's so important. And nowadays we can't even go to a restaurant, but it's always been hyper competitive. The ratio, what is it? The percentage of profit is something like 4% or 5%. After everything, like that's what they make every month. for profit, a restaurant. It's not great. It's highly competitive. You got to get your prices right. You got to get your seats right, your menu right, your like everything has to be perfect every single time. It's hard. So if you go to a restaurant and that waiter is not giving you 100%, you're not going to, there's something going to feel like, why is it taking so long? Where's our water? Where's our menu? What's happening? We're over here. Like, you could pick apart because there are thousands of places you could go for a meal and an experience which is going to be positive. So yes, we're a little demanding when it comes to food and eating out. I'm just,
if this is supposed to be an analogy for fucking gender roles, and it's like, what, like, if the guy is the breadwinner, and the woman isn't bringing in income in any way,
right?
Is it that much of a fucking ask to do something? Like, is it that much of a fucking ask? You know, like it's what?
Well, most days, most couples actually, the past 30 years even, it's been dual income. So everyone has their own responsibilities, their own schedules. Some people are good at cooking, some people are good at washing, cleaning, and you break down all the responsibilities. You share them if you can. But some people are just like, I want to cook because you can't do what I like, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to wash this because you know how to use it. Like, that's normal. And you figure it out rather quickly in any relationship. So I don't know where he's going with his analogy. But for him to say it's like a restaurant, or whatever that lady is to say it's like a restaurant, it's like, that is not a good one-to-one. When you are in a restaurant, you are gold. If you are not gold, you get the hell out of there and you go next door and you take your business and you have a better time. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Except with a wife, if the equivalent like would be like if he's trying, this is supposed to be a fucking analogy for a husband and wife, and the husband is the customer. Like, it's not the same because the husband is not supposed to just leave. he doesn't have the choice of theoretically doesn't have the choice of just going to anywhere else. Yeah, he's signed a contract. You know, it's like, imagine if you signed a contract that you're only ever allowed to go to one restaurant. You know, and if the quality of service in that restaurant started declining, but you've signed a contract and you can't go to any other restaurant.
Why do you think?
Like, you'd fucking pissed.
Why do you think women sign a contract with a man? Because the restaurant is perfect. Great food, great service, fast, speedy times, clean bathrooms, nice music, good conversation. You know, all the things that a man would say, hey, this is fantastic. I love this place. That's a woman. This man's worth my time. He treats me with respect. He gives me all the things I like. We share the same interests. We get along. Let's live together. That's pretty much it. I mean, if you want to use an analogy a little closer, I would say the woman is the one coming to the restaurant, and the man is saying, I can provide these things. Nowadays it's more shared, of course, as I said before. But that's as far as the analogy goes, I think. Anyway.
James Bond offers a power fantasy to heterosexual men, not only in terms of the obvious power of his fighting prowess and high-tech gadgets, but a fantasy of power over women. The Bond girls...
You guys want to say something?
I see, because lesbians like women too, as far as I am aware.
Yeah.
But, like, by that logic, it's just like, yeah, he's a dude, but... So?
Wasn't there a few Bond girls that overpowered Bond a few times?
Yeah, I think there's probably a couple. I know Jinx, Holly Berry kind of does.
Yeah.
And Vesper Lind is clearly smarter than Bond in certain cases.
Oh, I remember, was it Terry Hatcher? She played that sadistic chick who bit his lips. in
I
Tomorrow
think that
Never
was
Dies?
Famke Jensen. I think that was Famke Jensen, not Terry
Oh,
Hatcher,
yeah,
wasn't it?
okay. Michelle Yeoh kicked his ass a few times.
Uh-huh. Sophie Michaud, I know, outsmarted him.
Oh, wow, yeah, you're right. Electra.
Mm.
Oh boy, yeah. No, there's plenty. Like that's the cool thing about femme fatales. They're really cool. They're sexy. They're strong. They're smart. And they have to provide some sort of conflict with Bond. You can't just be, oh, Bond, you're amazing. No, they're all strong in some way, or they learn to be strong. So,
Yeah. So, Denise
Wow.
Richards as a nuclear psychiatrist will always make me laugh.
So straight men want to have sex with a lot of hot women. Yeah, wow. You've uncovered it. You've uncovered the fucking conspiracy.
Who could have known?
Whoa.
Girls are subservient to him. He treats them and mistreats them as he pleases. Now you might counter with examples of strong women in Bond films, but even strong women with minds of their own eventually fall to his charms. In fact, it is in these strong women that the Bond films rebuke the agency of women the most. Their dalliances outside of gender norms are either punished by Bond or...
how are they punished? How does he hurt a girl for not being heterosexual? Like, what? You're a lesbian. I'm going to punish you until you turn heterosexual.
It's the thrill of the chase, which could be seen as not quite, like, on, but it's just, I don't care.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a challenge to Bond? Like, oh, you don't like guys? Well, I got a thing for you here. Like,
No, all women should just be lesbians, because if they aren't, then they're protecting the patriarchy, because they're upholding the patriarchal norms of being a normal fucking person.
this is such a weird sentence. Let's just listen to hear him say this.
shown to be, in the end, less important than serving Bond sexually. It's important to note that these women, except in...
Is that Vesper? I can't recall. I think
No,
it's not.
that is the Casino Royale fridge to be Skyfall to be fridge chick.
All right.
It's just like chick that Bond gets with that she'll say, hey, do you want... Hey, I know where this guy is. And she ends up getting shot by Silva, the Bond villain, played by the always immaculate Javier Bardem.
It's almost as if he doesn't have these strong emotional connections with people because he knows how dangerous his lifestyle is, so he doesn't get hung up. He has little expectations. It's like, he must be knowledgeable and experienced and a professional in his field. Wow.
Usually pros in a dangerous line of work don't get emotionally attached because they could die at any time and leave their significant other grieving. So they just kind of avoid attachments and take whatever pleasure they can out of life because they know they're probably going to die. So what's the point of denying myself a few pleasures?
Right, which has nothing to do with liking or disliking women in a certain way. It's just, this is my lifestyle. I know what to expect. If I don't act this way, there's a very good chance I'm going to die. Oh, boy.
Earlier cases shown to consent to Bond's sexual advances, but that is where the fantasy comes in. None of these characters...
Wait, what?
Know this isn't a documentary. The exchange...
What?
Wait. So he admits it's not a documentary.
Yes! He finally understands. The characters aren't fucking real, bro.
Are also not being
my God.
raped. They're being seduced by a dude who knows how to seduce better than him. I think this is just suaveness envy. because Renegade Cut cannot get a girl.
No women.
I told you he never
find
pleasured a
James
woman
Bond
before.
No women find the character of James Bond attractive.
There are a lot of like my mom like said, yeah, Daniel Craig's hot in Casino Royale. Like she's like.
Do you think the shirtless scenes are for the men? You know, the blokey British blokes. You're like, love the Queen, love me chips, simple as, you know, those that kind of people. Do you think they're waiting for the
beta male losers,
the shirtless scenes? You know, like are they like, oh yeah, I'm fucking horny. You know, like.
Yeah, I imagine that appeals to both the straight women in the audience and the gay men in the audience. So, 2 boxes on the demographic ticked. So, what's your problem? Is it the fact that there's male gays as well as female gays in the movie?
No, he's like, no, go to horny jail. No.
You can't have 2 attractive women be attracted to or 2 attractive people be attracted to each other on film. That's just misogynistic or something. What is wrong with the male coming on to a female? They're both attracted to each other, and it works out. What's wrong with that? Yes, it's a fantasy. Yes, we get it. What's wrong with that?
Heterosexual, all women wanting them, but also the ideology of misogyny being laid bare.
What?
A fantasy.
What? How? What? Huh? Yes, people want to be seen as attractive. How the fuck? Like, yeah, no fucking shit, dude.
That's
like,
why they always. That's why they mostly cast attractive dudes as Bond, so it's believable that these women will want him.
What? Like, how is that nefarious? Like, that's just no shit. People like to be seen as attractive, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh.
Like, and this isn't just like male. This isn't just male heroes. I'm pretty sure this isn't just male heroes have this fantasy of having characters being attracted to them. I don't think it's an exclusively male character centric thing.
It's also female. Females like both attractive women and attractive men. That's why most Hollywood actors are generally attractive, with
everybody
being people who want to fit a specific character.
Yeah, everybody wants to be found attractive. That's why you have like fucking Twilight. The whole setup is that, oh no, I can't choose between fucking sexy werewolf and sexy vampire. Oh no, I'm so desired. You know that this isn't just
both of those people. Even though both Edward and Jacob are sociopathic maniacs who want to control her life.
But they're hot and shiny. Okay, they got muscles and they're shiny. That's all that matters. But
no, they're not shiny. They're Edward and Jacob.
That's we mock Shiny, but at least he is not Edward or Jacob.
He is not
but it's like this idea of having a character that has multiple characters being attracted to them. Like, it's not just exclusively men. Like, what the fuck? It's just most people want to be found attractive. It's not that fucking hard. It's not some nefarious thing.
I bet Renegade Cut's not a very attractive person either.
Have you seen his picture?
Is he got an avatar? That's not whatever that thing was.
Yeah, in the corner. He's a bald dude.
He looks like a bald
too.
He looks
like
a bald henchman. He looks like a bald,
he does. He kind of does.
Henchman number 3. He looks like one of the guys in the fucking Jeep from that scene that he showed.
Yeah.
Maybe he has like that.
He looks like a skinhead, honestly.
Maybe he has
he's
that.
Just a secret Nazi, and he's just trying to make the left look really bad.
Oh, jeez. Maybe he's got that really somber demeanor that Jordan Peterson has. He's always like about to like kill himself. He's like, oh, life.
Tired of dealing with this shit.
I gotta talk about this politics.
Peace.
Communism is so difficult. Oh, it's so hard to read. Oh. If only people knew what I knew. Gotta make another video.
of worldview. In the end, all women want to be with Bond, and in the minds of misogynists, dominated by Bond. Even the strong
What? In the minds of misogynists?
Whoa.
How does that make sense? If misogynism is
guess
not
it's
a
like-
heterosexual thing, what the hell would I care about women? If I generally dislike them, I don't want anything to do with them for whatever reason he gave. Why would I want to dominate something I don't care about or actively dislike?
I guess maybe because you want to
You wanna-
control what you don't like.
Yeah, but why?
Maybe.
Well, you want to make them feel bad that they're not as epic as you, but it's just like
You're not me, go dance in a corner.
you want to show them that you're a physical nasty beast. I dominate women.
Yeah, no,
I
first,
fucking gaslight them.
First, it's a systemic thing. Then it's this process where it's not about hatred of an individual or group. It's this concept of inherent problems in society, which I wasn't aware of as a thing. And then it's generational, so it happened like 60 years ago, and it's like, wait, how is this still around? It hasn't changed because of gender norms? Like, does everyone have to be bisexual or something? Like, what is this? How does this get solved? What is happening? Why do I want to dominate women? Like, why? How? When?
strong women, especially the strong women. The only women Bond does not bed are Miss Moneypenny, who is obsessed with Bond, and the Dame Judi Dench version of...
Wait a second. I remember these scenes with Pierce Brosnan. They were pretty... She was getting kind of close to Bond there. Moneypenny. Just trying to remember those scenes. She was a strong woman. She was getting sort of flirty with him. Aye.
M, who the audience will undoubtedly view as too old for Bond. All other women are entitled to Bond. If a man has a sense of entitlement to women, he will be prone to hold women to false obligations.
What? Women are entitled to Bond? Wouldn't it be the man who's entitled to women being the misogynist? I'm entitled to women, therefore I'm misogynist. That would be the general idea, right? Not the other way around.
Use my brief but necessary aside. Saying maybe it's satire in response to problematic content is not helpful when something is easily identified as sincere and not satire. When the films poke playful fun at Bond...
They're melodramatic. Everything about the Bond films are over the top. The drama, the characters, the scenarios, the gadgets, the action, the guns, the explosions, the scenes, everything, including the interplay between men and women, or Bond and the Bond girls.
Mm-hmm.
You can call it satire, you can call it melodrama. It doesn't really matter what you call it. It's not completely serious. Nothing is.
Bond, that's not satire. At worst, it's a roast. Jokes directed at a person or idea that do more to praise the person or idea and hand-wave the faults instead of outright condemn. Satire criticizes. Satire condemns. Satire is opposed to something. It is not sympathetic to it. For example, most Wes Anderson movies are not...
So you just created another
No,
scapegoat.
I don't think that's true. I think satire can be sympathetic to the thing that it's parodying.
Well, if you're going to keep making, this is a straw. Here's satire. It's a straw man. No, it's not. It does X, Y, and Z. Therefore, it's not. It's like, dude, you can use any sort of definition for the interpersonal communication in a Bond film between Bond and Q, Bond and M, Bond and the girls, Bond and the villain, and you'll notice a certain pattern. It's quick. It's silly. It's over-the-top dramatic crap. It's straight to the point. There's no pontificating unless the villain is like, I'm going to kill you like this after I take over the world and blah, blah, blah. Because that's what happens with Bond villains. They always leave them alone in the shark chamber while they go off and conquer the world.
Yeah.
It's silly. Everyone knows it's silly. Why is he taking this so seriously? And now he's quoting Wes Anderson. This is great. Oy.
Great. I've never seen a Wes Anderson movie. I'm interested too, but I've never seen one.
They're very samey, but they're very well done.
They look nice.
Yeah, very well shot.
I'll say that.
That's a major factor
of
of it.
people's problems, because the films ultimately sympathize with those problems, even if the films also playfully mock the characters in service of comedy. This is especially true if their character arcs and growth have nothing to do with what actually makes them problematic, but what the director...
Problematic!
Great.
Ding, 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 ding!
I got 3 bingos.
We're going to have a full bingo card by the end of this. We're about to win Super Bingo.
This isn't just bingo. This is advanced bingo.
Base bingo. This is the base bingo.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Bingo was Nemo.
He just says like Wes Anderson movies are problematic. Like what? Just because it portrays white people that have problems and it sympathizes with their problems. Like is that literally it? Is
I don't
that
know if he
literally
quite.
the level?
I don't think he's saying that. I think he's just saying that the fact that like because Wes Anderson movies don't critique white people problems, but they don't count as satire because satire hates what it's commenting on. It
sounds like he's saying Wes Anderson should make movies that hate white people. I think that's the problem with his movies. That's what it sounds like. That just sounds like what he's implying.
Well, he was implying white people and their problems, so it's like, what? Okay.
You can make satires of what you love. I mean,
I know.
Star Wars parodies that are made by Star Wars fans. Team 4-Star made a whole Dragon Ball Z Abridged series, and they are huge Dragon Ball fans.
It's another case of pulling definitions out of his fucking ass. Just shitting them out.
I just don't know why we're on Wes Anderson all of a sudden.
believes them problematic. Monty Python's Life of Brian.
Why? Why are we talking about Monty Python?
Specifically what the troupe themselves admitted. Closed systems of thought. The example in the film being absolute devotion to dogma above else, both religious or political. Life of Brian condemns. Bond films support. Bond films making jokes about the secret agent's promiscuity is not condemnation. Even Die Another Day, the most self-referential of all Bond films, is at best a roast and not satire. Satire requires intent.
Holy semantics, Batman. Jeez.
So now it requires intent.
I know the intention of Wes Anderson films, guys. Therefore, they're satire. Like, okay.
I hate Renegade Cut so much. He is such an idiot.
Here's a term. Let me reinvent the term, folks, and say whatever the hell I want. Therefore, I'm right. You can do that throughout life. What are words? Whatever I want them to mean.
James Bond films do not satirize Bond's attitudes. Ian Fleming did not write his Bond novels as satirizing his own much-treasured naval service, and the producers of the James Bond films did not create over 20 films spanning over half a century to make you denounce saving the world and getting the girl. James Bond in film has...
Why would you denounce saving the world?
I want you to die.
What? Why would you denounce saving the world?
James Bond now in Fireball, where he turns into a giant fireball and dies. The end. Like, what?
It doesn't denounce saving the world. Like, What? Should it? Is that what you're saying? It should? Did I saving the world? What? Huh?
It seems as though he's got a doll face.
Oh god.
I gotta write this stuff. This is just every goddamn second sentence is just like I gotta write this down. They're nuts. Okay, yeah, guys, we want our heroes to win. Wow, what a conclusion.
Phrase, maybe it's satire, in response to problematic content in media is almost always in bad faith. A hand grenade.
Okay. So if I think I have a notion,
Almost bad faith.
there might be some satirical elements in a Bond film. I'm arguing in bad faith. I just don't know. Maybe it's satire. I don't know. Oh no, you're wrong.
Thrown into the conversation with the intent of scattering the interlocutors in hopes of never having to think critically about said problematic content.
Holy crap! What did you just say? The interlocutors of who?
Let's
Bond?
back up and see.
A hand grenade thrown into the conversation with the intent of scattering the interlocutors in hopes of never having to think critically about said problematic content in media they enjoy.
Whoa.
It's a cowardly move, and we have to be braver than that. There is a mild amount of self-reflection in GoldenEye, released in 1995, a full 33 years after the first Bond film.
What the hell was that? What?
That doesn't seem to be a problem for you earlier
And we
in the
have to be
video.
braver than that. There is a mild amount of self-reflection.
VCR
This is
error.
not bravery. This is not bravery. This is not bravery. This is dumb.
Renegade Cut is the fucking nosy neighbor who's like, oh yeah, I saw him go out and it was locked down and he went out and went to the shop. Nope.
Oh my god. VCR error 01 misogyny overload. Why don't you just get another clip?
I don't know. This man is insane.
Reflection in GoldenEye, released in 1995, a full 33 years after the first Bond film, Dr. No, and 40 years from the first novel. M remarks on Bond's sexism in a blunt manner.
Yeah, which was kind of a really dumb scene, but whatever. Have M be whatever she wants. That's fine.
Some more cheerfully called womanizing back in the day, often with a hint of envy. This scene does not recontextualize Bond because it's not biting enough.
Oh, sorry. It's not to my liking. It's not bad. It's not M doesn't say enough buzzwords to get me happy.
Bond, you're being really problematic.
Lord.
Oh god.
Bond, before you save the world from the villain trying to just like start World War III by nuking the US, maybe consider your own personal biases and how the structures of systemic institutions of patriarchal oppression really change your attitudes towards women.
This is exactly what Bond needs when he goes into work one day. It's like, M, can you leave me alone and get off my back? I'm trying to save the world.
Like the whole movie, it's like a really simple operation. Like he just has to do this one thing and just get to the bad guy. But the whole movie is just him in HR. The whole movie is just him. He's been taken into HR. There's been a complaint that you use some derogatory language, and the whole movie is just him. Like, well, I'm very sorry about that.
No. It's Bond. He pulls out his gun and just kills everyone who has a problem with it.
He's like that. That scene at the start of Airplane, where it's the guy fighting off the leaflet people.
Oh yeah.
Like where it's the people with like the leaflets and the would you like to join our church or whatever, that scene.
He's beating the crap out of all of them. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
All the Hare Krishnas.
Would you like to sign our petition?
Oh boy. Oh. There's not enough feminist rambling nonsense in my Bond film. Therefore, it's not a good scene. Wow.
Sometimes demographics are meant. Sometimes things are meant for certain demographics, and is that bad?
Yes, it has to be for me and support everything I say and do.
But he knows this already. He knows the way the Bond films are, and he's still like, "Oh, this is not good enough." You're like, "What do you mean it's not good?" It's like a '90s film of a new M, and because she's a woman, she has to ramble on about whatever bullshit to the guy who's trying to save the goddamn world and has a license to kill to do so. Do you think he cares about whether he's nice or not nice as he could be to women? Like, even if he was this horrific misogynist that just uses women as whatever, it's like, you know what? He has other priorities.
Listen, buddy, stop slut-shaming James Bond, okay? It's really problematic.
Like, can you imagine a female spy with exactly the same motives and methods as Bond because she knows how to charm men and get what she needs and kill people to get to the result as fast as possible? It would be the same argument. She does everything that Bond does. Does she hate women? Or does she hate men?
I would love to see their heads explode if like a straight out screwed the gay out of a gay man. That would be so funny to see their reaction.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Who wouldn't want to see a film like that? Who would want to see an amazing spy, a female spy, with, you know, like who's the character from Marvel? Who Natasha Romanoff, right? She's a spy, super spy.
Yeah.
She's got all these skills, these killer skills. She's seductress and marksmanship and martial arts. And I guess that's kind of what we wanted. What was that movie? When is that coming out? Did that come out yet?
Nope, it hasn't come out yet. It's been indefinitely delayed until I think it's like sometime next year. It's supposed to come out, but I'm not sure.
See, that would have been nice to see her story and like what did she do before all this stuff. Obviously, they can't be as mature and adult as Bond is, but you know, you'd still see some pretty racy stuff, and I'd love to see that. That'd be great. She's not a superhero; she's just a chick. That's good. I would love to see people criticize that. Oh, it's not feminist enough. She's not being strong. She doesn't have enough agency. She's not fighting the patriarchy strongly enough. I was like, okay, come on.
Or even like just I honestly like just like boning the homosexuality of a gay man. I'm just like, okay, I would be interested to see the takes on that particular.
Oh yeah, and he would have.
They would go nuts.
It would be like someone who
it would be hilarious to watch.
Who's like non-binary or has like bizarre pronouns or whatever. He's like, okay, whatever. Let's just get going.
Yeah. I honestly would love it if Bond like kept being pretty like based, but it seems like they're kind of catering, unfortunately.
Yeah, well,
with what's coming up.
There
next.
was so I'm just looking this up here. There's a poll, a YouGov poll that was done in the US on US Bond fans. Apparently, more Barack Obama voters called themselves fans of Bond than did Mitt Romney voters. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird to me. That's kind of weird.
Probably because there's a large amount of Mormon voters for Mitt Romney who don't necessarily enjoy Bond films.
Oh, because he's too degenerate. You know, he's like that's he doesn't have the fucking solid steel chastity belt.
Oh no.
Speaking as a Mormon, we don't have chastity belts.
Yeah, well, that's why you're cringe and
It's just your opinion. It's just your opinion.
You need to fucking step it up, buddy.
I like my life how it is.
Either that or return to monkey.
All right, we got less than 4 minutes. Let's go.
portrayed as cold and unfeeling, like the anti-intellectual perception of the film series real-life critics, and Bond does not accept this criticism anyway. Bond does not become a satire of earlier Bond films from GoldenEye and going forward. Instead, the scene is a playful roast of Bond by the filmmakers, pointing out lovable flaws in the service of making the character or behavior endearing. This mild self-referential nature of later Bond films do little to recontextualize earlier behavior because the filmmakers choose instead to ignore it or laugh harmlessly at it. In short, your favorite problematic content cannot be hand-waved as satire every time you don't want to acknowledge what it is actually communicating.
Wow. Oh my God. Just beat up that.
Communicating. Wow.
Just.
I just say, I don't care. You're an idiot. That is my response to this.
He's in the other room beating up a straw man. And we're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, where are you? Who are you talking to?
We don't even we don't use the thing of, oh, it's a satire. We're just saying, no, this is stupid.
But no, he has the gall to acknowledge what is actually communicating. It's like, what is it communicating, dude? It's like 30 things to you. I don't know which one you're talking about. It's bad for women, bad for, which one? Does Bond hate women? Does he want to use them? Do they want to use him? What's going on? What's happening in these scenes? Give me a scene.
What should Bond's relationships with women be like? Because if he's saying that there's something wrong with not forming an emotional attachment to all of these women that he sleeps with, then has Renegade Cut suddenly become based? Has he suddenly become pro traditional sort of marriage and that monogamy? You know, has he suddenly become based on that topic? You know, because that would be, what other implication could there be from saying that there's something wrong with the way, with Bond's relationship with women, with him womanizing? Because that's all the womanizing part is having sex with lots of women,
right?
That he doesn't form attachments to.
But there's plenty of.
It's always a conservative thing to be against that.
Yeah, I know, but there's plenty of women who throw themselves at Bond. So, I mean, does he deny them? Say, no, we can't be amorous today, lady. That would be taking advantage of the situation.
Oh, you don't want to have sex with women? Oh, you hate women?
Oh, no. Yeah, I know. It's either he's too aggressive and he treats women as objects, or they come on to him and,
if you had him reject every woman, it would literally be like, oh, so he thinks he's above dating women? He thinks he's too good for women? Oh, that would be the argument. You know, that he can just always come up with some retarded reasoning for why it's misogynistic. He could always move the goalposts.
Yeah, I know. There's
come up with some reason.
There's basic psychology to associate fear, like that. What was that? The suspension bridge effect. I think I talked about this before, but you're on a suspension bridge and it starts to shake and there's other people coming towards you on the suspension bridge, and that state of arousal can be classically conditioned to be sexual. So you actually see that other person and you're attracted to them because you're excited. So this is the theory as the theory goes. So it's, we can connect with this basic idea of fear and saving one's life and being in dangerous situations and seeing the guy who saves you in a good light. This happens a lot. So in a fantastical sense, it would happen even more. And that's kind of a fantasy. That's the idea. One of the ideas of these films, where you have this suave dude comes in, kills all the bad guys, saves you from harm, whisks you away on a yacht or whatever, while they're going to save the world. It's like, holy crap, who is this dude? He's amazing. That's part of it. So I could see the female's opinion of Bond, how they like him, and for the male audience, it's like, yeah, you just impressed a cool chick who's hot or clever or whatever. And there's all kinds of flavors of Bond chicks. Some of them which aren't so hot, which are awesome. I'm trying to remember what movie that was, but it was the. It always reminds me. Whenever I think of the Hyperloop, I don't know if you guys heard about the Hyperloop from Elon Musk, but there's one scene in a Bond film where there's this guy. He has to get smuggled out of Russia, I think, and they put him into a natural gas pipeline, and there's a little pod they throw him in, and in order to get the pressure high, one of the Bond chicks has to go into the control room and press the old man who's monitoring everything against her chest, and she just like takes off her hat or whatever, or undoes her hair and unzips her top, and she's watching the monitors so he doesn't see them. And then once Bond's done with the lever to launch the guy through the piping system, he pushes him down. He's like, "I'm not that kind of girl," or whatever. And it takes off. Like, that's the whole scene. It just takes like a minute. It's hilarious. But that's what I think about the Hyperloop. But it's just, there are other versions of women in the Bond films which are not completely sexual, or where she doesn't use her affections for Bond. She plays as a role to help him out. And it's fun. It's funny. It's cute. It's clever. It's not to be taken too seriously. Anyway.
Brief but necessary aside. Does that about cover it? Well, an analysis of the text won't be enough for some people and want arguments from authority, the worst kind. So, okay. Do you know
What?
Bond is a misogynist?
Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious?
Whoa,
What?
dude!
Let's back up.
Wait, guys. Are you an expert at Bond films? Are you an aficionado? Because if you are, that's an argument from authority. You don't know what
Are
you're
you
talking about.
seriously arguing against arguments again, like from authority, when the whole fucking section of your video about anti-intellectualism and how people should just believe like fucking academics just for no fucking reason other than that they're academics? Like, holy fucking shit! Are you fucking serious? Oh my fuck! So anyway,
Dollface, sit down,
Dollface.
take a deep breath. Drink some water.
Worse.
We're gonna be okay. He's an
Well,
idiot.
an analysis of the text won't be enough for some people and want arguments from authority, the worst kind.
Wait. An analysis of the text won't be enough? What do you want us to analyze? What are you talking about?
Bond films are not that deep. They're pretty shallow. And that's why people like them. The most complicated ones being Casino Royale and Skyfall. But, like, most of the others are just fun adventure movies. Those are the only ones that are trying to, like, raise themselves, and whether they succeed or not is up to your own taste.
Yeah, but think about this. Like, I read the text of whatever, and I'm suddenly making an argument from authority based off my own authority of reading the text. Like, what is that? How does that work? All I'm doing is saying, look, this is in the text. It's not in your philosophy, Mr. Renegade Cut. You're wrong. And he goes, well, that's just the worst kind of argument because you just read the text. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? Where else would I argue from? How else would I know anything if I don't reference the text? Do I have to like put my worldview around it of the time when it was created and the producers and the political climate of the 60s? Like, will that help my argument? Oh boy. All right.
So, okay. Do you know who else thinks James Bond is a misogynist?
Let me guess.
James Bond.
Oh, no kidding.
Daniel Craig.
What?
Whose comfort
Oh,
Hold on.
Do you know who else thinks James
You
Bond?
actors are not the characters.
but you just said argument from authority is a bad argument. What the fuck is the point with that? I'm losing it. I'm losing the will.
Is
Oh, we got
so bad.
Minutes of this. It's going to take forever because he's going into this, which didn't he just have the epiphany earlier in this video that the characters are not the actors?
Oh my God, the actor has a differing opinion of his character. Whoa, never heard that before.
He just said argument from authority is the worst kind of argument.
And now he's using an argument from authority.
What's the
Also,
point of even bringing
here's
it
the
up?
thing. There have been so many people playing Bond. It's ridiculous. He has no solid characterization over the course of the films, aside from he likes women, he likes drinking, and he kills people. Everything else varies from actor to actor.
This is amazing. I just
This was like, you've uncovered the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Dumb.
this guy is just in his own planet. We're like, wow, we're looking through this telescope going, what is that? I can't quite tell. How do you get there?
What is it like on planet Insane? I don't want to live there, but I want to study you people so that I can laugh at you uproariously because you are hilarious.
Oh boy.
Is a misogynist? James Bond. Daniel Craig, whose comfort with the role has had peaks and valleys, once said, "But let's not forget that he's actually a misogynist. A lot of women are drawn to him chiefly because he embodies a certain kind of danger and never sticks around for too long." But even the most recent
How is that misogynist?
I think there's a lot more to it than
Yeah.
for why women like Bond or find him attractive.
Daniel Craig is kind of an idiot and weird.
If you want,
Yeah, fucking actors, man.
if you
Of course,
want,
he's going to use Daniel Craig as an argument because he supports his ideals.
yeah, it's not very logical, but that would be an argument from authority. He's the guy. He is Bond, therefore he would know better. It's like, well, apparently not, because all you could say is Bond is a jerk. Girls like jerks. Like, yep, I agree. Okay.
Wouldn't it be more like the person writing Bond as a character who knows more about the Bond than the actor?
Yeah.
Like the actor gets in the headspace, but the writer writes the character arc, writes the dialogue, writes the story.
Right. That's why I want to ask Daniel Craig whether he actually read the books the same way Timothy Dalton did. So maybe he did.
Yeah.
Maybe, but the books are way different though than what we get on the screen. Plus, everyone's interpretation or Craig's version of Bond is different, way different than any other Bond we've seen. Plus, a lot of his work has nothing to do with the books. Those are new stories. The books are almost. I think they're done actually. There's no new Bond books in the movies yet. So
Isn't Ian Fleming? Well, yeah, Ian Fleming's dead, but
oh yeah.
But they've adapted pretty much all of them.
Yeah,
into
exactly.
movies.
That's why.
Point. Now
That's
they're
why
just kind of running on fumes.
Yeah, when they
trying to adapt original content.
When they brought Craig in, it's like, all right, we're going to do our own thing now. We're going to use some liberties with the license, and still, it's not fun. It's not hard to do because the formula is so easy. There's a crazy villain who wants to do crazy thing, get super spy agent to do crazy stunts with guns and bombs and gadgets, with hot chicks and car chases and chases in the air and all kinds of stunts. There you go, Bond film. No problem.
Bond film, starring the most self-aware Bond actor of them all, has traces of this. Bond's powers of seduction, his display of dominance of a woman, helps him further his cause. Depiction does not always equal endorsement, but James Bond's misogyny is generally...
How is this misogyny?
Oh, is misogyny?
This lady is trying to describe, I think, the mob she's a part of and her life. And Bond's trying to get information out of her. He's trying to find. Who's he trying to find in this scene? I can't remember. But essentially, yeah, he's using seduction and being nice and whatever. Or is it violence? I can't. It's one of the two. It's seduction and violence. That's how it works. I it's kind of funny because yes, he has to use these things to get information out of people. Does that make it inherently misogynistic? I don't think so. I think that's just a trade. It's part of interrogation. It's part of getting what he needs.
Yeah, like he's just a ruthless character.
Right. He's kind of like a renegade. At least, well, Craig's version is a very bruiser sort of fellow. So I can understand that a bit more, but I think all the Bonds have that sort of quick action sort of. Give me the info now, or I'll kill you, or
Yeah.
I'll torture you.
He's
sort
not like a character like Batman, where he has this code where he's like, oh no, I can't kill people. Oh no, that would be bad. Like no, Bond isn't like that.
Right.
He's ruthless. You know, he's willing to go a lot farther than a lot of more sort of goody two shoes sort of heroes.
So it makes sense he uses these techniques, which you might not be comfortable with, because it's a goddamn James Bond film where people get shot every 2 minutes. Oh my God, he's talking to a woman seductively. He's a misogynist. Oh my God, he's getting what he needs. And he might end up sleeping with her. What a horrible, horrible person.
Aimed that way for the audience, all too eager to see their pre-existing beliefs reaffirmed by media.
Which?
Bond is a misogynist because of the text of the film.
So, like you, Renegade Cut, like you want to see your pre-existing beliefs reinforced by media. Like I don't know how the fuck you can watch and not get that impression that he wants to see his beliefs reinforced by media.
I now kind of want to see his take on Black Panther now, because I am very interested to see what that would be. What that is.
Does he have a video on Black Panther?
Let me check.
Probably does.
Let me check.
So if he says the text of the film, I'm going to take that literally and mean the dialogue. It's like we actually read the scripts. There's nothing going to be inherently like, and this is where the Bond uses his misogyny on the lady.
Yep.
Does he have a Black Panther?
Yup, he does. It's called Black Panther: Africa Without Colonization.
Oh my fucking God! He lives on a fucking fantasy land. He lives in a fucking different
Can you
fucking
imagine?
planet, dude.
Can you imagine that? Step 1, find a material that can defy the laws of physics. 2, profit. Like what? How do you do this?
Mhm.
Yeah, if I had a material that could change an industry and have spaceships, I think I could make my own country too. But you know,
Well, they still have to know what to do with it. Like
I know.
that. Like that's not how this works. That's not how industrialization works. You can just have, oh well, look, see, they had a big rock. They had a big shiny fancy rock that does things. Like they're still at that point. They're still just like the rest of Africa at that point. They had, like, there's so many places in Africa that had like diamonds and shit, and they didn't mine them until they were colonized. You know, so it's just like, what a bizarre, like that hypothesis that's this is what Africa would be like if they hadn't been colonized. It's just fucking brain dead.
Yeah. I also Planet of the Apes, specifically the Caesar stuff, and he asks, "Are Planet of the Apes?"
Wait, what does he say about it?
Oh, he just says, "Are apes people?" That's the title of the video.
Oh,
I guess in
God.
the context of that movie, but what is he saying that's an analogy for?
I don't know. Like, he's saying, like, Wakanda is Africa without colonization, which is just like, yeah, that culture doesn't make sense, though. That culture doesn't make sense, though.
All right. Unfortunately, I gotta get going.
Rip.
I don't blame you. It's totally understandable.
No, it's all right. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for letting me on.
No problem, Crow. Take it easy.
Adios.
Good evening.
All right. Okay. Oh, we got 2 minutes left.
And his journey is portrayed as either correct, laudable, aspirational, or at least whimsical more often than it is framed as wrong.
Man talk.
So, for those in the back, James Bond is both a product of his time, but also an unnatural extension of the values of those times that have either ended or should have ended. He is a blunt instrument.
Why? Why should it have ended? You don't think we don't use intelligence gathering and use sex anymore? Or interrogation techniques? to extract info from people? Are you sure about that? I'm quite sure spycraft is alive and well, and has been going on for thousands of years. So.
Vessel in which to inhabit the values, history, and interests of the United Kingdom's government. He is a misogynist, a low-key abuser, and as an agent of
the fucking the interests of the United Kingdom government, the interests of stopping World War III, like stopping drug dealers from from dealing hard drugs, stopping fucking doomsday devices. How imperialistic. Like, oh my fucking lord.
Of the UK, also an agent who tacitly promotes imperialism.
Oh god.
Bond is fictional, so the blame for this cannot be.
How the hell do you promote imperialism by being a secret spy?
You're so fucking dumb, dude.
Like, does he go in with his gun and it has like little notes attached to it? Imperialism is good. Down with communism. No, he shoots people with bullets and runs away.
He literally stops World War III several times. How is that not a noble goal? It's like he frames it as if it's like the UK taking over places, or it's like stopping them from having a real democracy or some bullshit. And it's like, watch the fucking movies, dude.
The people that Bond is fighting are all crazy dictators.
Yeah, they're just insane and fucking evil, clearly evil. Maybe there's some people who would go, actually, they did nothing wrong. But for the most part, it's not that political. It's not that right-wing imperialism.
None. As far as I'm aware, the only Bond films that are even remotely complex or interesting are Le Chiffre and Silva, and maybe even a little bit Blofeld.
Oh, I see.
Everyone else is pretty much simple, as far as I'm aware. Just straightforward bad guys. That's kind of even the trope of mustache twirling Bond type villain.
Yeah, even Silva in Skyfall was like, you got captured on purpose. Like, okay, that's okay, fine.
Yeah, that part's dumb. That part's weird and dumb. That's clearly aping the Dark Knight without yeah. There's a lot of problems with Silva, but at least he's they're attempting to have certain amounts of depth.
Yeah, I love the scene where I'm surprised you didn't use it in is it Skyfall, where they're playing target practice with what's her face, and she has a little shot of scotch on her head, and unless she just shoots her, and he goes, "Oh, that's a waste of good scotch." It's like, yeah, that's Bond, baby. That's what you want to see. Cold, hard Bond. He doesn't give a crap. He has the mission in mind. Keeps on going. He likes the scotch, of course.
On him. Bond does not exist. He has no agency. What we're witnessing when we're watching a movie.
Wait. What the?
Promotes imperialism. Bond is fictional, so the blame for this cannot be on him. Bond does not exist.
So wait. Bond is not real. Fine. He has no agency. What does that mean? I don't.
Well, he means he the blame for the script is the people who wrote the script, and that they did this because either society influenced their brain to make them do things, or they're just a bad person.
Okay. So now we're making the argument. It's not the okay, obviously when we talk about media, we don't say, if you watch this, you're going to want to kill people, or, violence from video games, that sort of crap. But now he's saying this is a period piece. Everyone was like that back then, including Ian Fleming. And this is just one example of the author who got popular. So he's probably not even blaming Ian for Bond being the way Bond is. He's just saying, oh yeah, no, it's the times and McCarthyism and misogyny and systems and all blah blah blah. This extremely long line of logic of if this then that. Oh my god, I can't believe this. This is like the jumps in logic you guys have to understand if this is what he's saying is true. Yeah, no, Bond doesn't exist. No, it's just the author. No, it's not the author. It's the production company. Oh no, it's not the production company. It's the country. No, it's not the country. It's the times. It's like the decade. It's like, oh my god.
He has no agency. What we're witnessing when we're watching a movie is not the ideas of fictional characters, but of the culture that created them and the culture that endorses them.
Really? That goes through your head when you're watching a film?
Wow. I guess he's really going to like the new Bond film that's coming out, where they have a Whammon Bond. Black Whammon Bond, even.
When I watch The Princess Bride, I'm not like thinking about like Gilder and the political strife of the two countries. I'm focused on the characters. I want to know what's going on.
The problem I have with this view is that if you look at the movies that come out in a year and you try to look at them through this, like look at them through a lens, like the way Renegade Cut does. Mm-hmm. There's so many conflicting messages. There's movies that promote morals that are very different to movies that come out in the same year. So they can't, like, they're literally mutually exclusive values in if you look at the movies that come out. And so it's like, how can they all be reflecting the value of the culture that created them when they're creating the same culture, but they have radically different things that they're promoting?
Like, Joker is a very different movie than Captain Marvel, and those came out in the same year.
Oh. All right. We have 1 minute left. And I hope it's just going to be a bunch of outros or whatever he does.
Bond was not only the fantasy of men who wished to be him and the women who presumably wished to be with him. He was the fantasy of a United Kingdom that still held the world at the edge of a sword.
Really?
No. That's not in the fucking movie. Or the books, even. It's not about controlling other countries. That's it's never portrayed as a good thing to take over other countries and create an empire.
Yeah.
That never fucking happens in any of the fucking Bond things, like, ever.
In the spy thriller genre, the concept is to have an action adventure which is politically motivated or as a premise, and then goes into its normal patterns of melodrama. That's it. This is not a sign of the UK government saying, hey, we have MI5 and we wish we had Bond or whatever actually doing this in the world. That's not the real world of spies. There's been books written about this. There's been people who have been in the spycraft business, and they've told their stories. He is not a fantasy of the UK government. He is the fantasy of an author who was part of the Navy there for a bit and wanted to embellish and have fun and tell fantastical stories and actually create a new subgenre. So it's this. In no way does the UK want to like destroy India in the Bond films or some other country.
Mm-hmm.
He is sometimes smirking, sometimes sneering face of the real man of action that spits in the face of the intelligentsia. In conclusion, I will let M herself give my opinion on the Bond character and films. Only when she says it in GoldenEye, it is framed as cold or wrong. I would say it with conviction.
What's the bet that it is wrong? that it is incorrect? Because it probably is. My bet is it probably is wrong.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. A relic of the Cold War.
Sounds about right.
Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. So what's the difference between sexism and misogynism?
Well, misogyny is sexism plus privilege and power and blah, 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 the social fucking systemic institutional powers of the fucking...
This is really, really dumb. This is impressively stupid. This might be the worst Renegade Cut video we've covered. I can't think of anything worse.
All right.
Even like his stupid Home Alone video wasn't as bad as this.
Well, that one was horrible. All right, here's a definition of being a sexist. Characterized by or showing prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination, typically against women on the basis of sex. All right, fine. So it has nothing to do specifically with females, but it's typically been that way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get misogynist up there. A person who dislikes, despises, or is strongly prejudiced against women. Now that's Google's definition. He had his own definition for that, which was a few paragraphs.
Yeah.
So for
it's more like a bias against women or wanting to control women.
Right. So with M's declaration of you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, it's like, well, you're just saying the same thing twice. And you're from a bygone era, and now we're doing things my way, whatever. But that never happens. It's still Bond saving the day, him calling the shots, and everyone thanking him at the end because he knows how things work. Just
and
because,
honestly, like they learn to work together well.
right? I think that
so.
I think M realizes that even though she has all these more progressive ideas, the world does not bend to her will because she wishes it so. Bond still has to be what he does.
Also, the world is written in tooth and nail, and the only way to get things done is a gun in a lot of cases.
Dude, just get a better picture, man.
Wow.
Put a smile on your face.
He looks like a turtle. He looks like a turtle.
Make
like
something
a
about you attractive. I don't care what it is. It's definitely not your voice. It's definitely not the content of your videos. Give me something to look at and go, yep, you're a handsome dude. You're a nice guy. You're not a sourpuss about every goddamn thing because it's not communist all day, every day. Give me something. A leftist video essay series about the politics, philosophies, and culture that inform popular media. Even when it's not there, I'll just make something up.
Jesus Christ, a fucking 4-part video on the DCEU.
There's nothing there.
What?
It's probably going to be all about how Zack Snyder's a fascist, even though Zack Snyder is, like, even though he's an objectivist, Zack Snyder's pretty moderate left, as far as I am aware. He's not right wing.
Oh, no. Like, I wouldn't.
He is not right wing. I would strongly disagree. Like, Zack Snyder's not. Like, there are some things that the left hate. There are some things that the left hate about his movies, but that does not make him right wing. He's just kind of a chode filmmaker in a lot of ways who has pretensions of grandeur. Yeah. Just kind of a chode filmmaker who has delusions of semi-intellectualism.
Oh, boy.
But he's not right wing. Like, Zack Snyder is many things, but right wing is not something I would lay at his door.
Oh my God! Here we go. Some of these are the comments on the actual video. Someone asked me to check them out. They are amazing. That scene where the girl glasses the black guy in the face and he smiles through it is the trope that black guys don't feel pain, rooted in slave-era justifications of corporal punishment and whipping.
What fucking trope? I've never heard of this fucking trope. What the fuck are you on about?
I've never heard of this either. I have never seen this in any media ever.
So we're just
If
making
anything, it's more
up
white
for it.
guys don't feel pain
I've
based on
never
how much
what?
punishment they experience. Have you seen an Arnie film?
I've never
It's like
fucking
he's an
heard.
indestructible meat mountain.
I've never fucking heard. Where the fuck are you getting this from?
Here's another one. These are great. Another thing, his womanizing, his affection toward the exotic women he encounters in his films, taken with the already present imperialism, makes the message clear. That's a sentence. These women, and by extension the countries they represent, are literal objects to Bond, and by extension the country he represents. Okay. It's a power fantasy both
Wow.
from a male, and it gets ... and it's done. There's nothing left. So it's literally the UK treating women as objects or countries as objects.
What? What do you even
This is
say to that? Like,
nuts.
that's so.
It's weird.
That's fucking
Extremely weird.
Oh, here's
fucking schizophrenic rambling. This is like, they're out to get me. They're everywhere. The fucking the patriarchy. I see it. They're following me. I'm being gang stalked by the patriarchy.
Here's I think Dunn, this was the quote you read. My lesbian ass going into this. Oh, neat. A series I've heard much about but never seen before. I wonder if it's worth watching. Me about 25 minutes in. He did what to what? It is what? It was set to what now? My lesbian
I don't
ass.
think it was me. I think that was Hawk
Oh, it was
who
Hawk.
said that, because or Zach Reeds. It wasn't me. I'll take credit, but I don't think it was me.
Okay. All right. It kind of makes sense why so many alpha male pickup artists look up at James Bond as the ideal male. Like, what? How do you know that?
What is the comment about Irish people? What is go up a bit?
Irish people. Oh, okay. Thank you for mentioning Winston Churchill's hand in the genocide of Bengali. His great leadership has killed so many people across the globe. Example, I'm Irish. And he sent the black
Fuck off.
and tans into police the Irish people, causing bloodshed and civil war. Like, all right.
Oh, you're so
This is a
fucking.
gold mine of idiocy. This is so funny. This is so awful. This is amazingly stupid.
This was a great, well thought out video. The
Hello.
part of anti
Yeah, I think there's
intellectual.
a little bit more to. I think the tensions in Ireland go back a little bit fucking farther than Winston Churchill.
It kind of goes back as far as like Cromwell and the
Well, it goes-
English Civil War.
Well, it goes back to basically the Ulster plantation is like the main thing, or like being like taken over before then, and then the Ulster plantation. But it's just like it's not like he's like, oh, it's Winston Churchill who he sent people to kill. Like, dude, there was a conflict because people were unhappy with being part of with being part of the United Kingdom, and they would be either way, like just on principle, like it's just. But they just go, oh well, Churchill did this. It's just like.
This is amazing. James Bond Fans with Love is a group dedicated to real James Bond fans who understand that James Bond is an imperial agent.
Real James Bond.
An imperial-aged white British spy, and is not black, gay, female, or a multicolored unicorn for the sake of political correctness. We welcome those who want to learn more about the world of James Bond 007, but not the PS snowflakes who wish to change what Fleming created and gave the world. Bond isn't broke, so we don't need to fix him. So this is an actual response to the whole... Yeah, the whole 007 is now a girl or whatever. Yeah. And there's nothing, he listed all the terms, and he's like, there's nothing else that needs to be said. It's the ultimate validation of your analysis. It's like, really? A Facebook group that wants the original Bond. That's okay. I mean, sure.
It's just... But I thought But in the video, you're saying that that's what he is. and that's what he represents, and that it wouldn't make sense for him to not be white and British. So, what? Why do you what? Ah, my fucking word.
Oh my god.
James Spawn committed war crimes in Northern Ireland.
Uh-huh.
Here we go.
This.
I love the James Bond movies, and I've often wondered why the awful politics of the movies, which I've long been aware of, have never bothered me. Like, really? You were aware of these paper-thin politics? I'm often turned off by the bad politics in other works of fiction, but for some reason not for Bond. I wonder why. I think it might be because of the fantastical elements of at least the early movies make it so far removed from political realities for me that I'm more able to ignore any political implications of the films. So it's not a problem for you. However, I wouldn't want my kids to see the movies without me being able to explain to them how bad the politics are. Yeah, because your kids are going to be that well versed in projecting whatever political nonsense into these films. That
you just let them watch Bond movies for a day, and you come back to them at the end of the day, and they're just like, "Daddy, the British Empire is based. I want to take over India."
Oh God.
So is Blofeld the good guy in this scenario?
Both Bond and Q actually do like and respect each other. Their sparing is playful, having a tongue-in-cheek, taking the piss element to it. It's disappointing this hasn't been recognized. Still, I do think some very valid points. Dude, that's what you got out of his video? The Q and Bond stuff was wrong? Still, I do think some very valid points about imperialism, propaganda are raised, and I appreciate the intellectualism on display here. Oh my God, dude. You have a light at the end of the tunnel, and you're like, oh.
Good Lord.
It's just the relationship you got wrong. It's everything else is fine.
Everything else is fine.
Anyway, more crazy. Like this is good. It's so good. I love it. Blah de blah de blah.
Huh. This is really awful.
If by intellectualism you mean fucking navel-gazing, self-indulgent nonsense, then yeah, sure, buddy.
The only thing that was almost as bad, I think that this is kind of surpassed by everything that Maggie has done, but this is really bad. It might be on par with at least a couple of her videos. Definitely not the Cats one. Maybe Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas. That one was pretty bad. And mostly
I
because
feel like Renegade Cut is just so... He's so sincere that it's not goofy enough to be like, oh you with your goofy takes. Like it feels like genuinely like malicious.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
very. Oh, I kind of want to watch his Starship Troopers review now, just to see how dumb it is.
This is
Superman
great. This is
postmodernism in superhero movies.
This is great.
What?
This is from the Vegan Viking. How the hell does one go about finding all this nuance and subtext? I feel dumb every time I watch a video like this. That could mean he hates the video. Yeah, that could mean he hates the video so much he feels dumb, or he's actually learning something from from Renegade Cut. He feels dumb.
There's a 4-hour series on the ECU.
Yeah.
They're an hour each. How are you getting that much material out of that? Like I think it's like an hour per movie or something.
Anyway, I'm going to stop here. That was more than enough, guys. I mean, if you want to go to the Echo Chamber, just go to his channel and just watch any of his videos, and you'll just read the comments like, oh, these people are crazy. It's fantastic.
I also one big thing I disagree with, and I'm not saying the Bond movies are satire, but I am saying that Bond isn't even in the earliest movies. Like Bond isn't held up as an example of like a paragon of morality, of like this is what you're supposed to be like as in this is what a moral person is like. This is what a good person is. That's never been the case,
right?
For Bond.
Yeah,
so
Bond is he's just kind of a wish fulfillment fantasy. It's what you would be like if your social inhibitions were taken away due to either a knowledge of who you are.
Yeah, like it's like watching fucking Deadpool and going, it portrays committing violence and like being promiscuous as a good thing. And it's saying that this is okay, and it's like,
all right, so I have pretty much almost the entire left side covered. The things I don't have covered in my bingo card are he likes TLJ or Last of Us 2, clickbait, provocative title, dramatic piano music, diversity representation matters, and that's it. 4.
Does the stuff he said about Orientalism and how Asian people are portrayed not count as representation matters?
I don't quite know. He just didn't like it.
Well, because he's saying that's bad representation, and the fact that they're represented that way makes people think of Asian people as not human.
Possibly, but he didn't bring up diversity as a factor that was in the films. He was just talking about the yellow face per se. So that was more of a.
Yeah, I suppose he wasn't talking about like. I guess the amount.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know whether he likes TLJ or not, like based on his channel. I imagine he does, but I don't.
So it's just this sort of Tetris block of likes TLJ, provocative title, dramatic piano music, diversity representation matters that were not filled in for me. Everything else, like he just hits them all. It was amazing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bingos. I just wow.
He has a video called Star Wars How Fascism Begins.
Yep.
Fucking.
I think we did that one. I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
What?
Yeah, we did that one.
Earth? Well, was he pro TLJ in that one? Or was he pro TFA?
I don't know.
Or did he just go so off topic of talking about the Star Wars that it just...
Yeah, it was a lot of book
he actually
references.
has a Game of Thrones video.
Yeah.
He has a Game of Thrones video, and he doesn't even talk about the show. He just talks about how it's like an analogy for the Bush administration or something.
Anyway, guys, that is as much Renegade Cut as we could take a month. I'm going to be changing this to that time of the month again. The same with Maggie May Fish. So we'll do once a month. They're so dense and hard to go through that they're kind of draining and almost depressing. So, I mean, I'm okay with it, but it's like, okay, I can't bring on too many people because they're going to get bored. It's just how it goes. So, thanks for the suggestions because we had at least a dozen, and it's probably more. And I know we covered a few more already. So, geez, keep the suggestions coming. Come to the Discord, drop them in the suggestions section, as well as keep voting on the voting sections. There's 1 to 6, plus the shorts. And we'll see you guys next time. That was, I mean, I enjoyed it just because they're crazy and they're just ridiculous. But it's the same experience with Maggie May Fish. You just have a great time listening to crazy people talk about things that aren't there. It's fantastic stuff. So, anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Have yourself a great evening. Good night.